Okay, these are going. That's going now. So I think generally, as I kind of do this, do you know how to use mics at all? Have you done anything like this before?
No.
Just keep it like within distance. If we find that we're like changing directions, then that's the biggest thing. But I mean, like at the end of the day, it's not a big deal.
What about at the beginning of the day?
That's a good one, actually. I got to change this. So this is the one I just got, but I got to put this on it.
Oh, deep carry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they even ship it without deep carry.
I don't know. It's annoying because like every time I get one, I have to like. I don't even think this is an actual Benchmade one, but
Well, the bug out comes stock with a deep carry.
really, so that's probably this one then. Or I had a mini, like a mini, so that maybe that was the one that came.
Yeah,
on.
that's the one that's on my bug out. Yep.
Really.
But I don't know why they would like this is.
I know they're all like that. I have
You
like
want 3/4 of an inch of it sticking out of your jeans,
especially with this one that came on where it's like 3/4 of an inch and then it's a like
and it has the glass breaker.
So like all my watches it just destroys because I have it in my watch hand. So like it took me like a month of putting it in my pocket to realize I like not this watch necessarily, but
nice
so have you done anything like this before?
No.
So this is have you seen? I guess you've seen some of the ones that we've done so far, but let me just get
Joe
this
Rogan,
out.
we're coming for you.
Yeah, right.
Man, this is tight too. Ian, get your stuff together here, man. This is terrible.
I like them like that.
What? It should be just tight enough that when it's
It
open,
falls.
Yeah, I like it drop shutty, but just tight enough that there's no play.
Yeah. So why I am hesitant is because I don't have any. Oh, I should have told you to bring some. I'm sure you have some. Is
Are you left-handed?
no. Like so, for instance, this one right here.
You carry yours weird.
So, but like if I'm standing here like this, if this is going, I put it in my left pocket.
Same.
Yeah. So if you have this in here, wouldn't it make sense for you? Isn't it going to fit better in your pocket like this? So that when I pull it out, it's like.
Yeah, but see, your blade's facing the opposite way. I would have my clip on this side. So when I bring it out, I just
See, like that's
I switch to my right hand. That's the thing. You open it with your left.
most of the time, yeah. Even though I guess I'm not left-handed, but
So if I do put it in my right pocket, though, then it's ready to rock because I pull it out like this. It's ready to go.
in all my ownership, I don't think I've ever put it in. You alternate like here and
I'm
there.
always left pocket because my phone's my right.
Same.
But when I take it out of my left pocket, I just pass it to my right
Yeah.
hand and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And if I were to put it in my right pocket, it's ready to rock right away.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay, let's see what you got here. Some stuff.
So you want fixed blades first?
Yeah,
or-
sure. So me and Doug share this hobby, knives, and I guess like everyday carry tools and stuff like that. You
Started
know,
with
like
knives, and then it evolved to like everything, sort of everyday carry, I guess.
like what else? So flashlight.
Multi-tool, like pens, as silly as it's.
I know I have a pen.
I've got the space pen.
Yeah, someone else just told me about that because I don't know if you saw my watch, but I got the Moon watch.
Yeah.
So that's like I brought that up to someone, and then like I guess there's probably a world of like NASA approved things or like things that they like. Someone just showed me the pen, so yeah, I like the pen.
So I bought the pen initially just because it's small, like it's only this big closed, and then the lid fits on the end and it's large enough to write with. But I guess you can write in the rain, you can write upside down, you can write underwater. Like
That's exactly what he
I
said
would never
too.
use it for any of that stuff, right? I just bought it because it's nice and small.
I have a nice like I'm sure you've seen that copper. I have like a copper It's called a tactile turn pen.
Yeah, it's bolt action, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, those
So
are
pens, yeah, I know, but I mean, like I got one for myself just to like, something like that. You're like, am I gonna actually keep this at my desk forever, or is like Tatum gonna go throw it down the,
yeah.
stairs one day and it's gone forever?
The space pen's cool too. It's only $50. Like it's not crazy expensive. Like your bolt action pen was probably $100, right?
Yeah, it was like and then it's like that's like the stock if you want the Damascus, like all the other stuff. It's
titanium. $200. Yeah.
So how long is it?
This? Sorry.
No, I was gonna say how long has it taken you to accumulate this many?
I'm weird, dude. Like when I get into a hobby, I kind of go like all in for some reason. It becomes like my obsession. So in like a year, I probably accumulated 50 knives, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like to put in context. It wasn't even this past year necessarily. Has it been? You think?
2020.
Okay.
is mostly when I started. Like before the pandemic.
Yeah, so it's not like this. It's like a panic
No.
stash type thing.
Even when I was a kid, like I had a collection of knives, and I probably have 20 knives before this, but they were like cheapies, like Swiss Army knives.
Yeah. But did you carry something every day, even at that? Like when I knew you, like when we met way back, would you have been carrying a knife then?
Like at the times you saw me, we would have seen each other at the gym or like when we worked together at the bar.
Yeah, obviously,
right?
you're probably not going to have one on.
Yeah, not in those places. But I mean, rule number 9, gentleman's rules, 25 rules to be a gentleman. Rule 9 is always have a knife. Right. So my dad taught me that growing up. I never carry it for anything like protection.
No, never, ever. That's why I get that a lot too. Is like if someone doesn't carry it, they're like, "When are you gonna ever use that?" I'm like, "I use this 10 times a day."
All
like,
the time, yeah.
oh, you're talking about like self defense. It's like that doesn't even cross my mind.
Yeah,
like,
not at all.
never.
Yet.
Where'd that one go? Oh, it's on here.
So yeah, like 2020
Yeah.
at the beginning, I don't know why, but I just like I really like this knife here. So this is the Gerber Strong Arm. And it's not necessarily like a super high quality knife. It's only 420 HC steel, which is pretty soft. Like you have to sharpen this every time you come back. Like if you go in the woods with this and use it to like make a fire and
Cut shit up.
like
You
process an animal or something like that, you're gonna have to sharpen it as soon as you get back. 420 HC is pretty crappy steel, and it's not very corrosion resistant either. That's why there's the coating on it.
So where does this one stay now? No, do you have how many of your?
That one stays on my camping bag, like right on the front.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is that one,
Yeah, but I like that one because it's really comfortable to hold. Like it's got a nice thin handle.
and it's like a rubber.
Yeah, it's 3/16 blade, 3/16 inch thick blade, so it's gonna stand up to a lot of abuse. And it's only $100, so it's cheapy. If I snap it, I don't really care all that much. So this is a user for sure. And then here's sort of its bigger brother. This is the LMF2, also made by Gerber. It's also the kind of the crappy 420 HC, but this was designed for downed aircraft pilots in the military. So it's got a serrated blade on it, which is designed to cut through the fuselage of the aircraft. So it's silly that I have it, but I have it because I like knives.
Do you, when you go and like figure out this information about it, do you find out are you introduced to that information and then you're like, oh, that's a cool story, I want the knife? Or it's like you find something you like and then figure out kind of like the story behind it?
Yeah, good question. I'll watch 24 videos
On the same one?
on a knife before I make a decision.
Same, yeah.
At least, and then I'll read some articles. So, I mean, some more information about this is it's almost a full tang. So the Strong Arm's a full tang, and I'm sure you know what full tang means, but for those that don't, the blade goes all the way back to the very end. So this is somewhat of a rat tang, which means it gets thinner here because you can see the rubber encases
And then you
it.
just, if anything, lose probably a little bit of like overall build quality when you shorten that. Like I assume something that goes all the way to the end is going to be more
strong.
strong.
Super
yeah.
strong, yeah. Because if you're digging in something, it's not. There's like stick tangs and rat tangs that only come to like here.
Yeah.
And if you get really prying on something, the knife will just snap right out of the handle.
Okay,
so that's a full tang. This one's almost full, but they didn't bring it all the way to the end with purpose. So it stops right about here,
Yeah.
half inch from the end. And like I said, this knife was designed to cut through aircraft. So you're cutting through electrical cables, things like this. They didn't want the butt here to actually touch the blade, because if you're cutting through electrical and your hands on this, you're going to get electrocuted.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? So they thought of that just to insulate you. So you will lose a little bit of stability. I've seen videos where guys are really digging and prying in wood, and this blade will start to just wiggle a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. But this one's quite a bit beefier than the
Let me get this one in
Strong Arm here. Like, look at the blade difference. It's
for sure.
it's heavy too. It's just that the pommel on that is beefy.
Yeah, because it's just metal or whatever, or steel or. Cool. I like this one. This is like for reference sake. I'm looking to outfit my desk with something. So why Doug is pitching me on these fixed blades is because I kind of asked. Sweet.
That one's more combat.
Yeah, but like that's cool. Like even that in itself would like that the usage behind it and the
Yep.
history behind it or whatever is enough to like.
And it's got lanyard holes, 2 here, 1 here, so you can strap it to like lash it with your paracord to a stick and make a spear out of it for fishing or hunting or whatever. You could do that with this with the
but those
here.
up two are probably a little bit more deliberate for it.
Well, exactly. So, this is a lanyard hole, but it's more of a lanyard hole to wrap it around your wrist. You could wrap paracord around here and tie it, but it's not going to be as sturdy as the two here. And this one also comes with a built-in sharpener. You just unstrap these, pull this out. Up from the bottom. Yeah, it's got a little sharpener built in.
So I don't like. I was just asking you before this. Do you sharpen your own stuff? Is that as simple as it is, or that's kind of like a easy, like convenient? It's better to have that on there than nothing. But you're not going to sharpen all your knives that way.
Yeah, it's just a field sharpener, so it'll get it usable again and sharp enough to do what you got to do. But you're not going to get like paper splitting sharp or hair splitting sharp with that thing.
Because like I said before, I don't even know what a kit would look like.
Yeah, I would say like a Lansky kit would be where you'd want to go. It's got.
Can you mess stuff up? Can you just ruin blades?
You could, yeah, but this kit basically it's a little clamp that holds the knife like this.
Yeah.
And then there's a rod that attaches to a sharpening stone, and you can set the angle of the rod. So, for example, this is going to be probably a 20 degree each side, or 22 degree or something like that. I don't remember the exact degree.
Yeah.
You'd set it to what the degree is, and you just slide it on there. It's dummy proof.
Really?
Right? And you can also get like a work sharp kit, which is basically a belt sander. And that, like, you'll run it on the belt sander. Again, you do the angle, but that's more for if you've beat the crap out of the knife and you got to totally stuff. Resurface it. But honestly, if you're like these knives, your folders, if you get a nice strop and just like a leather strop with some strop compound, and you do that
every so often,
like once a week or something, you'll keep it razor sharp.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
I've noticed that because I've noticed that like I don't do any of that, but I definitely noticed that a lot. Like some knives out of the box are a lot like even this one. Like this is the one that this was kind of like a fluke, right? Because that's the
damaged it.
I honestly didn't even like there's nothing I'm hesitant to put a knife to, like especially ones that you pay a lot of, like I'm buy them to use them.
Should stand up, yeah.
And like I've even since then, I don't know, it must have just been like you've seen that right on the tip there,
yeah.
How it like, and then it's like send it back, and it's like send it here, takes 2 weeks to get there, 2 weeks there, another 4 weeks sitting in the.
You could bring this back to life in 20 minutes with that.
Oh, really?
Kit. Yeah.
Okay.
I can lend it to you.
So I don't even need to like. You could figure it out yourself, really.
Yeah, you could fix that tip, but I mean, it's under warranty, so why not send it to them?
I know. It's just the whole like process of going through it.
Yeah. And then here, so those are kind of the two cheapy steel ones. And this one here, you were excited to see this one. It's the Bark River Bravo 1.
Yeah, so that was almost the one I was about to buy until I was like, oh, I might as well see it when you get here.
This one's actually got the best steel out of all the knives here on the table. It's CPM 3V. So this knife, I don't know if you know the history of it, but it was made for a military serviceman. He designed it, and it's been carried by Marines for years. This one's here, 1/4 inch thick. High polish micarta handles and permanent pins in the handles. There's a ramp here with some jimping on it, but it's a convex grind, which I much prefer for like a hard user. So the grind is like this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like rounded in, much stronger at the tip. You're never going to break it, but the high polish handle, I like the look, but it's slick when it's wet for sure.
Yeah, I guess depending what you have and like what you're going to use it for.
Yeah, like if you're using it to process an animal or something, you got blood on your hands.
Yeah, but I'm opening FedEx boxes. And
exactly.
Does the trick. Exactly. So does this one and this one and this one.
Yeah. A $5 X-Acto knife.
Seriously.
But it doesn't look nearly as cool.
No, definitely not.
That one's quite expensive though because of the steel.
Like what? So what would it quite expensive?
That's over 300.
Yeah,
like 360 or something like that.
Like,
but also shipping was kind of a pain, and they're all handmade, right? So
shipping. Do you get it from in Canada?
No,
really?
That's from Bark River. It should say where it's from right on the blade there.
Michigan.
For some reason,
Escanaba.
I'm having
Escanaba. I'm sure I butchered that, but
I'm having a brain fart on where they're made.
yeah, it says right there.
But it's so basically they get the blanks. It's just a blank piece of steel that's cut to the shape of the blade,
Yeah.
and they're all hand sharpened after that.
Can you get this in different colors and
Yeah.
like probably a ton of different
There's like
colors?
102 different handle colors or something.
Ooh, this is nice. This is like
Like you can get desert ironwood, you can get synthetic handles. I just got the micarta, the black micarta, because that's going to be the best, other than G10, like this material. That's
Yeah.
going to stand up the best to elements. Like I could leave that outside over the winter, come back, and it's not going to be screwed.
Yeah.
If you left desert ironwood out there or something, you're going to come back, it's going to be ruined.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the cheapest option too. This
Just the stock or black or whatever it is.
You can get different sheath options too. This is the cheap piece of garbage that it comes with, but this will be like a knife I pass down to my kid for sure.
Yeah. Do you ever make your own stuff?
No, I haven't started into that. Like
Even I guess I meant like sheaths and
Sheaths?
stuff, but like even do you ever get curious about making your own knife?
yeah, I had thought about that, but then I got into another hobby. Like I got into guns, and then I got into home gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of bounce from hobby to hobby, and I
Go
sorta
all in
go
in
all
each
in.
one.
So I should have saved this for last. This is the best one, and I think that's the one you'll want.
Yeah.
I showed you this one outside. This is a Becker BK2. It's made by K-Bar. Everybody knows K-Bar, the USMC knife, the one that's got the leather handle with kind of the
Oh yeah.
rings.
Yeah. I
big
do
long.
know.
So this is basically, they call it a crowbar with an edge. It's a 1/4 inch thick. It's a 5.5 inch blade. It is heavy as hell. But what I like about all the Beckers is they all have the same handle. All the large Beckers. There's small Beckers. I forgot one I should have brought actually. The small Beckers have a different handle, but all the large ones come with this Kraton plastic handle. You can upgrade to micarta, which the BK10, the BK9 has. But anyways, this thing is beefy. It used to be called the Campanion, like companion, but the camping companion. There's also a BK10, which is identical, but it's 3/16 thick instead of 1/4 inch,
Yeah, this is
which
like
is probably more friendly and easy to sharpen. Like this thing's a bitch
it
to sharpen.
seems like it would be
Yeah,
even
it's
like
hard to
the
sharpen. But like you could probably
literally
dig
just
to China with
crowbar.
that.
Yeah, seriously.
But the handle feels great in the hand. Eh?
Yeah, yeah. Sweet.
The thing they meant, so they've changed this sheath. It's a shame because I like this sheath, but this is a glass-filled nylon, and the glass in it actually dulls the blade every time you pull
Coming
it.
in and out,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. So like what they should have done is made a sheath like this, which is not the glass-filled nylon, or fiberglass or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same problem. This sheath is so convenient though, and I love that it's just nice and small.
Yeah. Well, even the full complete package is like this belongs in there too, type of thing,
yeah.
right?
So I may get a Kydex sheath made for it, or try and make my own Kydex sheath for it. You know what Kydex is?
No.
Just it's kind of like this. It's just a plastic. This is Kydex.
A little bit more that you can. Oh yeah, okay. So you like can manipulate it possibly.
Yep.
What this one looks like, I'm gonna like this one too.
Yeah. So I was gonna leave that one for last, but so that one's even thicker. That's 5/16. That's called the Tops Operator 7. Sorry, this here is 1095 steel. So high carbon steel, super tough, really not corrosion resistant. So they're all gonna have a coating on it.
Yeah.
Super tough, super easy to sharpen, holds the edge for a little while, better than the 420. Back to the Bark River, sorry, the 3V will hold the edge longer than anything on the table here, and this will be the toughest.
I'm
steel.
trying to think. Are any of the ones that I have 3V?
No, you will almost never find a folder in 3V.
And if you do, you're paying probably like
It's not a folder steel, right? Like this is a
yeah.
This is a workhorse. Like I could stick this in a rock and twist it sideways. It's gonna break the rock before the steel. It's super tough, super good edge retention, great corrosion resistance. There's better corrosion resistance, but this is my favorite steel, other than maybe CPM crew wear, which is similar, just a little tougher, better edge retention.
So like stuff like that. Can you get that ultimately in any color too, or is it you only see it in that like
The blade?
Yeah.
You wouldn't coat 3V because it's got great corrosion resistance already.
And most of the time,
I'm sure you could. Like you could get it Cerakoted.
Yeah.
like this, right? This is like a.
I have one. I actually forgot it at home, but that Osborne that I have. Remember the red one? Did you see it when I got it? Custom red. It's like it was a silver stainless steel blade or whatever. Not stainless steel. I guess it's not stainless steel, but and then anyways, they Cerakoted it black, and so I guess you could if you wanted to. But
it would look like shit as soon as you start hacking at stuff. It's going to chip off.
Yeah.
Like, I forget what this coating is called. It's not called a Cerakote, but you understand. It's similar. This will last much longer than a Cerakote, but still, once you start using it, it's going to start to
show.
You know, this coating
no matter
here, it's
what.
got chips and stuff all over it, where you'll never get that with this, right? So I'll put this away. Tops Operator 7. That one's pretty expensive there. That was like $3 and change. That's a straight up combat knife.
Really?
Yeah. So that's also $10.95.
So like, is that why you have it here? Just to get a little, like, is that there for that, you think?
Do you know what that's called?
What, this handle?
Yeah, it's called a choil, finger choil. So that's just, I mean, it's combat, but if you want to do some, bushcrafting with it and carving and fire making, you're going to want to choke up, because if you're back here, it's hard to really control it, right? So the finger choil is for that, just to kind of get up and do some feather sticking or carving or whatever like that.
I like just even looking at this is like, if I bought something even like this one, I feel like naturally I would be okay. This is cool, but like, let me put. That's why I asked about colors and stuff like that. Are you like a more of like a standard like black type of thing, or will you go for something that looks like colored or like off or different or something? You are brought to naturally, I guess.
So to be honest, when I ordered this from, I think it was DLT Trading, I ordered it. DLT Trading and Knives Ship Free. And there's one other one. I think there's only 3 companies that will ship to Canada that carry Bark River. You can't order straight from Bark River.
Yeah.
And Bark River, because they're semi-custom, they only do certain runs. Like they may make this knife 2 times a year, and they make 700 at a time. So once they're gone, they're gone. When I was looking, they really only had the black micarta
at the time,
and like a really ugly sort of green and purple one. And some of them had liners, which I didn't really want. Not that I mind liners, but I didn't want the handle to be thicker.
So when you were buying that's kind of like really what was. Honestly, that's even like this one is why I got it, is because like it's something. I'm more of like a carbon fiber if I want to get but this is like the jade color, and it's only going to be until they sell out or whatever, or they decide to do them again. But
like I said, I will probably get a nice souped up fancy one, but I want to pass this down to my son, and this is going to have quite a lot of longevity. Like I said, the handle material here is going to last forever. So whatever. Back to the Operator 7. Straight combat knife. This is not called a blood groove. That's what people call it. It's not to
just catch it in there, or like
So I mean, there was an old wives' tale. It's called a fuller, but not a wives' tale, but I guess a numbnut's tale. People said if you stick a knife in somebody or something, that it like gets suctioned in there by the muscle, and this is to let the blood out so you can pull it out.
It seems far-fetched, but
all what it's for. It's literally for weight reduction, balance, right? So I mean, usually a knife, you're going to want it to be balanced somewhere in the middle, like somewhere around. Little front.
You can probably feel it though, like how close it is, even just holding it like that.
Yeah, for sure. So they do this to reduce weight, to help the balance, and for looks.
Yeah.
And it will actually add strength to some blade designs, but it's not a blood groove. So if you hear someone call it a blood groove, they're being silly. It's just a fuller for looks and weight reduction.
Would you just hang this from something?
Yeah, so it's a dangler.
A boundary of what? Belt loop? I guess. I mean, you would, if it's combat related, you would need like it to be not probably just pinned in one or hanging from somewhere.
The idea behind the dangler is so when you sit down, it's not it'll move. It doesn't get jammed up and dig into your side.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So this one I've never used. Obviously, I just got it because honestly, it's the thickest blade I could find on a reasonable knife. Like that is.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's super thick. Even compared to the one that they call a crowbar, it's like
even got another
thicker.
quarter inch or whatever on it. Not even. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is 5/16. This is 4/16.
Yeah. So whatever. Yeah.
But it's. So we'll get into some of the bigger boys here. I wasn't sure how big you wanted to go for your your desk.
But that's, you never know. I guess like
Yeah.
it's all a little bit like, ooh, like that would be.
This is a Becker BK9, so same dude that made the BK2. It's going to feel a little smaller in the hand because the blade's only 3/16 instead of quarter inch. It's 9-inch blade. I did change the handle material from the Kraton to the linen micarta, and
Not like after you bought it like that though. You didn't buy it extra.
And what's crazy is the knife is maybe $120, and the friggin' handles are $80.
Really?
Yeah. So they come green, natural green micarta. I dyed them brown just with some like Walmart
I've seen
clothing dye.
That's cool.
That feels lighter than the small one.
Dyed this one?
Yeah, I dyed the
I
handle.
would have never been able to tell. I don't know if you can, if that's a silly thing
I
to say.
sanded
but-
it a bit too because it was quite rough.
Yeah,
The rough is more functional because it's grippier, but it just didn't look as good or feel as good.
Yeah.
Just a helpful hint to anybody who wants to sand micarta: wear a mask because it's just like asbestos.
Really? So
Yeah,
it'll just get you.
It'll get stuck in your lungs and can cause problems. So people die like of asbestosis and
Yeah.
silicosis. If you're around silica sand, same thing with micarta. You got to wear a mask.
Interesting. I'm sure that'd be like, well, maybe not, but like graphite or something like that. Maybe not. Maybe
I don't think so. Like it's got little microscopic barbs on it, right? It looks like little fish hooks,
Yeah.
and it just sticks in your lungs and it does not come out.
And it just does damage over time. Why? You'd try it?
I used to work at a cement plant though, where we made cement
You're just aware of certain stuff like that?
with silica sand, and
You got a small one in here?
I do, yeah.
Ooh, honestly, this is what I need under the desk. Not really, but
Maybe
this is
to throw
cool.
at somebody, yeah.
Did it come with that?
No,
Really?
you had to
You got
buy a
another one in
separate-
here?
No, the sheath is designed to hold that. though.
Something
That's what
else?
I think just.
Is it the same brand?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think what is that? The Becker BK, which is
13.
13, yeah.
Bar 13, yeah. So what, would there be anything wrapped around this generally?
You could wrap paracord around it. Yeah, for sure. I had some paracord.
I don't know where, I think this one on the bottom, right? Because is there an Allen key on the top here?
Yeah, I left the Allen key just in case the handles ever get loose.
I don't know where I pulled it out of, so make sure I put it right back in the...
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if
right.
it was
Yeah.
in the...
Yep, that's right. I kept the Allen key just in case these handles get loose.
Yeah, true.
But this here, there's also BK7, which is what I'm thinking will be right for you. It's 2 inches shorter than this, and it looks more combat-y. Same thickness, same handle, but it's about that long.
Yeah, that looks like... That one does seem like it would be a hair too, like...
Yeah, it's
on
not
the
very
unrealistic
practical.
side for...
This is a camp knife, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be chopping wood with it,
Yeah.
right? Anything you do with a saw or a machete. And it's also got some extra thickness compared to machetes, so you can dig and carve and,
Where'd that come from?
Oh, I just had some spare paracord just to show you like what you could wrap around.
Yeah.
That blade there. Okay, so here the next one is different. It's made by Tops. It's called the Tops Armageddon, and this has got a different micarta handle. That's 1/4 inch thick, so it's the crowbar too.
Wow, even feeling this is like you'd expect it to be a lot more like top heavy than it is. Same thing here then with...
Yeah, so you can get in close and do some carving.
That looks like it's been used.
So no, I modified this because when I got it, there were some hot spots on the handle. Like that was quite sharp.
Oh, really?
So when I was like swinging it, it would kind of dig into my hand if you took a lower grip, like a chopping grip. So that's where you grip if you're chopping.
Yeah.
And it was just
Yeah.
digging in. So I rounded it all off. I also rounded off all of my micarta because it wasn't very round here. It was
Interesting.
sharp. Same with up here. Yeah. So I made it much more comfortable to hold.
Are these? Is this like a custom blades? Are they like or like the fact that it's like
an
that?
assembly line.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Same with Becker. So that's 1095 high carbon steel too. These are working knives, stuff that you go out and chop a tree down with and make a fire, whatever, build a fort, whatever.
Whatever you want to
Go
do.
boar hunting with this.
But it's like kind of to tie this to another subject. Like, do you go camping and stuff like that? Are you a camping guy? Like,
So, like, my wife really wants to go camping once our son's a little bit older.
Yeah.
And my dad every summer used to take my sister and I camping.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like this stuff you might not having a child, you might not like, because I'm like, I can't wait to like go camping with Tatum and stuff like that. And like, you know, you probably might actually be out using it now more than you think, especially like out in the, you know, camping and stuff like that.
And I grew up in Belmont. There's a huge forest in Belmont, and I had dirt bikes growing up. So I was always on my dirt bike in the forest with buddies, and we're always chopping trees down, building forts. So I've just always loved knives for that exact reason. We'd go chop stuff down, carve stuff, make fires, ride our dirt bikes around, almost set the whole forest on fire a couple times because we bring gas with us.
Just pour it on.
Yeah, a little bit too much, and then run away on our dirt bikes. And
that's hilarious.
Here's just a cheap Gerber Gator mini machete. So this is like a Canadian Tire special, super light, pretty functional.
Oh wow, yeah, crazy.
The blade's only a 16th of an inch, right? So you're only going to be like chopping like bush.
But even this, it's like so like where does it feel right to hold it? You know, like compared to some of the other ones.
It depends what you're doing. So a lot of them are multi-position handles, right? Like this one, the Armageddon, you'd hold up here if you're doing, you know, some light chopping. You'd hold up here if you're doing something a little closer. But then, you can take a 3-finger grip, hold back here, and really get a swing to chop.
So what's this? So kind of a saw, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably be faster just to punch the tree down and use that.
Try and use this, or go with this side.
It's not sharp at all. It's just you'd use that to clear grass or shrubbery out of your way when you're walking through. And then its bigger brother here. This is the full-size Gerber Gator.
Which one did you get first?
The big boy.
And then you're like, oh, let's test out the smaller one too.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Sure.
Exactly.
One for my wife, one for me.
Do you get them? So like for this stuff, would you have got a Canadian shop?
These are both Canadian Tire. Yeah.
Look at this thing. Yeah, this looks something you'd just be like trimming your hedges with or something.
Yeah. Or zombies.
Yeah, or zombies. Totally zombies.
That would probably bend on the head of a zombie.
I'll probably see zombies before I'm trimming hedges anyways.
Probably take
Yeah, look at this. This is like, you know.
Yeah, break in half. It's junk. It's junk. And then I saved the coolest one for last, for the fixed blades. You'll probably love this one. I'll see if you recognize it, what it's from, without showing you any.
Unfortunately, I feel like you've told me before.
And you've already
I don't remember. Yeah. I don't know. I won't know.
From a famous Arnold movie.
No.
He throws it through a guy.
I'm not good with movie references. He throws it through a guy
and says, "Stick around."
I'm not good with movie references.
Predator.
Yeah, no, I would never.
So at the end of Predator, the big native guy, Billy, holds this up and like cuts his chest open on the bridge. Remember?
Sure.
Yeah. So this is like garbage steel. This is a $40.
It's like
it's a $40 knife. Yeah, it's a prop knife. I don't know that I would trust this with anything. You can see this is a stick tang, right?
Yeah, so it's just going to snap off pretty easy.
I don't think it would, because it does come all the way through, but it's not going to be like these full tang boys.
You're not going to bring this to the woods to like.
No, I just got it because Predator was my favorite movie.
That's just the design of it. It's not another blade on top. Yeah, I mean, hey, you put this on the wall or something.
That one stays beside the bed.
That's hilarious. Do you have more fixed blades than folding?
It's probably even. Like if I don't include, my little Swiss Army knives and multi-tools and stuff.
Do you use your fixed blades?
A couple,
like, because you use a folding knife all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you find that, like, if I were to get, obviously not something that's attached to the bottom of the desk and like made into it, would I shouldn't expect to use a fixed blade as much as obviously I have something in my pocket.
Yeah, it's not practical. Like if I go out on my dirt bike, I'll bring a fixed blade.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. Like I can.
Yeah, true. If you need to do something like this, thing's probably just going to snap. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, if I got to dig a branch that's lodged in the bike or something, I can dig it out with a fixed blade or something like that. So I'll usually bring some kind of fixed blade.
For more specific, like kind of, I guess, ultimately, like what I have hanging in the truck, it's like you're not going to use that unless you like need something in the truck or whatever.
But really, like probably 85% of my blades I didn't buy because I thought I'd use them. I bought them because I like knives.
Hobby, yeah.
And I think they're cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
nice.
So a couple folders. I showed you. This is the Cold Steel 4MAX Scout.
That's like the one almost that I don't even know. Actually, I have it in the back of my truck in my kit. Remember the one I got from you? It was kind of like this. It was bigger. It was the same size.
Cold Seal Swift. Yeah, it's assisted open and spring.
But that thing's deadly.
Yeah.
You can't like.
It's sharp.
It's sharp and it's like
touchy.
Maybe you need to fuck with it a little bit more than I do. But like it's almost like if you loosen it up too much, it's like. Watch out, it's coming at you. And
if you drop it, it'll.
Yeah. Like I had to like put it somewhere where I'm not going to use it so that people don't pick it up and like cut their finger off or whatever.
Yeah, just tighten the pivot.
Yeah, I know. But then it's not like, then you got to go like this.
I know.
And it's not like, it's like, it's funny.
Spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the 4MAX Scout. There's a 4MAX, a regular one that's got better steel, better handle material, but it's $450.
Really?
Which is absurd.
You hate expensive knives.
I don't.
That's why you chirp me for getting these ones.
I hate expensive knives that are shit. So, like, this knife is expensive, but it's good.
Yeah, but like even
this knife is expensive and it's good.
But like being someone that's into it, like for hobbies, like it's almost like I get this because. Realistically, it's never gonna fail on me for what I need. Like I haven't had any of these knives like not perform or just crumble when I need it. Like being a hobby, like don't you find interest in something that like has a design like or cool or anything like that?
Sure, yeah. But like Benchmade's like Starbucks coffee to me. It's just like it's okay.
So would you go with another brand that like something that catches your eye, excuse me, with something cool that was still the same price, but you just like
Spyderco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spyderco or Wee knives, I think would be like they use better steel. They're sharper. The warranty's just as good. They may not have as many like funky designs, but they use better steel. The warranty's just as good. I find they come sharper. The actions are better. Wee knives use ball bearings in the pivots. Mm-hmm. Those are usually just like bronze bushings or nothing.
They're those like copper plates or whatever.
Bronze bushings. Yeah. So like the action on this is far smoother. Like it drops shut. It's way smoother.
Yeah.
And like the Spyderco, I like the little hole in the middle. You can flick it open.
That one is nice. I've for some reason I haven't like.
And like, there's cool, like this is camo. That's like a funky.
No, and they have like pretty cool ones of this. Like everyone does, I guess. Like,
and that if you like, the main reason I have a pocket knife is for opening Amazon packages.
Yeah.
Look at the point on that. Look at the tip.
Well, honestly, that's why I went with like even this one, versus some of the other ones. Yeah, totally. Like
the tip is scary sharp on that thing.
I'm sure. No, I agree. I definitely like. I don't know. I just like there is an aspect to like the, I don't know, design of them sometimes, I guess. And like, I don't know why. I guess like I should like.
I do like Benchmade because their lock is fantastic.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Again, that's different. Like that one literally has been open probably
new
a single amount of times. Like this one's a little bit better, but I lost some of the. I lost some, like, if you find that...
The Omega Spring?
No. Just the, like, if I don't have the glue, like the...
Oh, Loctite?
Loctite in it, and I don't. So for the last year, I haven't had Loctite in them. So I tightened them down because on this one, I actually lost this one of the bearing, like came out. I lost the screw. Luckily I found it but it would have been rendered garbage, completely useless after that. So I was switching them out and taking them apart and messing with them and stuff. And so I lost that like Loctite confidence.
Yeah.
So like even this one like is a little bit better, but I haven't used it because I'm afraid to like
it's closer. Yeah. Well, so I love the access lock on the Benchmade. I love it because it's ambidextrous. You can open it, close it one-handed, right? It's super fast. It's convenient once it's dialed in right.
Yeah.
But the Omega Springs, I don't know if you've ever had to replace an Omega Spring, but they break all the time.
Really? Yeah.
And if they break, the lock's fucked. Doesn't work.
Really?
And you got to wait 5-6 weeks for Benchmade to send you one.
Yeah. See, I guess I haven't been like, I know.
The Omega Spring's like $18 per side.
Really?
And you're going to break one a year. That's what's going to happen. If it's your daily, you're going to break one a year or two a year. You're missing a screw here too.
I know that's because I took it. I had to take it out of like I took this out of my pocket one day and I had a bunch of screws missing, and so I had to like consolidate.
Aftermarket screws, right?
These ones are
Yeah.
But again, like even with this, I found that like if I tightened it to how I wanted it, where it was like perfect action. Over like a week or two, you'd start to get loose, and then
you just need Loctite.
Since I didn't pay enough attention to this, and I lost screws, I'm like paranoid of losing it, and I know I just need Loctite, and then you can just adjust it to how it's supposed to be.
Just order some on Amazon.
I know I did actually do that, and then the one I got, it was an error. Like Amazon canceled my order, so I was like, you know how it is. I was a year later, I didn't reorder it.
So this is probably my favorite folder. Julia actually picked this one out. So I sent her to the place in London. What's it called again?
I don't know. Someone actually just asked me about that over by like Exeter Road, right?
Hold on. It's saved as a favorite in my phone. That's how often I shopped there.
And they have like all the swords and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It's over by Exeter.
Relics.
Yes, yeah.
Relics.
I got Jade one. I got her a Kershaw there.
Yeah?
Like a little like I'll go get it. Hold on. It's funny. I might have shown you before. That assisted one. Is that no, like I can't have that, right? If I were to.
It's legal.
Look at this one.
Nice.
For a purse, because I was like, Jade needs something, but look at
Ooh,
yeah, that's
assisted
nice,
open, yeah. That's deadly.
just to have in her purse or at her desk.
I thought you were going to get her a Spyderco Ladybug.
I did, but I feel like that was too small.
Yeah.
And then, right? I remember us having this conversation, and then they didn't have it there, or maybe they did, and it was just too small.
Yeah.
But I got this at Relics. You know, it just sits on her desk for opening packages or whatever.
I like the lock on this.
I need to get one of those. Like,
it's on the back here. It's for some reason I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on what this lock's called. That's embarrassing. But it's a variation of a liner lock. It's just on the back. Because a liner lock, you have to stick your finger in front of the blade to drop it. It's kind of silly.
Yeah.
So this one here, it's on the back. It's much faster. You can open it and close it like that too, and flick these open. Like I showed you before, you can do a thumb.
yeah.
You can even hold it by the blade and open it like that.
One of those, like, so that's 3.
Pair of 3.
2's bigger.
Paramilitary 2's half an inch bigger blade. It's
there's
quite a bit bigger.
And there's only those 2.
There's also just paramilitary, which
And that's
is even bigger.
bigger? Yeah. So I need that. Is there a smaller one than that one?
Not in the para series, but there are smaller ones. Yep.
But I want a para because I like it. Like I like how it looks. It's like even just that from the side, like, is cool. Like I guess that's probably what is a para.
Well, that's Spyderco's, like all of them
Design.
have a hole,
Yeah.
That's what they're known for. Initially, I hated it because I thought it looked stupid. It looked like a duck face or something.
Yeah.
But
I think why I was turned off by it at first was like because it added so much width to it. But I don't really. I'm gonna get one of these. This is gonna be my next one for sure.
Cool, yeah. Once you start actually using the Spyderco hole to open it, like it's way better than any other.
I do have one.
I sold it to you.
Did you? Yeah, you did, right? Yeah. It's just that
one's
one.
a back lock. It doesn't have this.
Yeah, and that's why because you have to kind of like it's two-handed almost more to close it, and it's more like that one is a pretty lightweight plastic. It kind of feels a little like
compression lock. That's what
cheap.
It's called. Compression lock.
That makes sense.
Man, it's embarrassing. I forgot what it's called.
Right, that one. I wonder if I could get like different scales for that one.
Yeah.
But even then, I'd just rather get one of these. I want one of these. These have been on my like.
There's a million different scale options, and also there's a million different steel options you can get. I just got.
I know because I saw
S30V, but you can get like 20CV, M390.
I've been looking at the copper, like the copper.
Yeah.
you know, that like heavier.
Heavy.
I like that.
After a couple years of patinas.
Yeah, and that's like my pen. It's like a copper pen, and like I've had it for maybe 2 years now, and it's got some like patina on it.
This one, like I said, I don't think you'd be interested in. But fun fact about Cold Steel, they have something called the Triad lock, and it's the strongest lock ever made in a folder. Everybody says they have the strongest lock, but this one has been proven. So the 4Max, not the Scout, the 4Max. I haven't seen anybody do the test with the Scout, but the 4Max, they built this little thing, this contraption that holds it, clamps it here, and then they hang a weight from the blade,
just
right?
add it up until it breaks.
It went over 1,000 pounds before the lock failed.
So at that point, the lock failing, the blade comes free from the handle.
Yeah, like it snaps.
Yeah.
1,000 pounds.
And
I think it was like 1182 or something like that. They just kept putting plates.
So like, when would that ever be where the pressure's coming from the top? Like,
so
it doesn't.
My dad's job is a perfect example. I bought him a Cold Steel AD10, which is the same, like one model down from the 4Max. Same lock and everything. It's just not quite as big or as thick. And I saw a test on that one. I think it did 900 and change. But my dad's a mechanic.
Yeah.
And he uses his knife as a pry bar, as a screwdriver. So he's like up inside prying at stuff. He used to buy like buck 110s, the old, the wood. It's the brass on both ends, the wood in the middle. And they'd
Snap
close
all the
on his
time.
finger, and he'd chop the tip of his finger off all the time. So I spent the money to get him the AD10, and I even got his name laser etched in it. The guy hasn't even carried it once.
Really? Why? Because he doesn't want to.
I don't know.
Ruin it, or he's just like
Maybe,
in
but
his
also
ways.
it's huge.
Yeah,
Like, I can't even find a sheath to hold that.
Yeah.
I tried buying like
Even like, it's almost funny to have this on it. Like, I guess if you got big jeans on or something, back pocket,
work
or
pants,
work pants.
but yeah, I mean, I guess I hope the only reason he doesn't carry it is because
He doesn't want to ruin it.
he doesn't want to ruin it. But I feel like my dad's a creature of habit. He's got his Canadian Tire knife that he uses, and that's what
He just
he's
breaks
use.
3 a year and just replaces them as he buys them.
Yeah.
You change your like everyday carry often.
Honestly, I'm kind of like a girl with this stuff. Like, I wore this one today because I'm wearing.
I do too, though. Like, if I need, honestly, the reason I got this one is because on like more like Lulu pants or something like that. Like, this one might be the bigger one, but I had them bug out mini.
Yeah.
And that was like,
Did you get the white one?
yeah, I did.
I wish you brought that. I want to hold.
I lost it. I got this to replace it because I don't know where it is. I didn't lose it, but it's somewhere that like.
So the only Benchmade I like is the bug outs.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Benchmade. Like this bailout, I like
It's
it.
cool.
But their price doesn't match
Yeah.
the quality. Like this is a $340
I know.
knife, right?
I know. This one was 300.
What is this, M4? M4 steel, yeah. So that's a good steel, but it's not like M390 or Crewwear or something like that. It's not worth $340. It's crazy.
It's just that, like, I guess, you're right. That, like, Starbucks effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that one, like, I don't know.
If this was $225, perfect. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd get one.
Yeah.
The bug out's good because it's 8 ounces. Like
Yeah, and the smaller one was, like, perfect. I could put that in, like,
your shoe.
short,
almost, yeah.
like, like running shorts or workout shorts, and it's, like, still hidden. Actually, when I got this one, I thought it was going to be smaller because the Crooked River, like, this is the Crooked River Mini. The Crooked River is actually, like, it's kind of probably like the HQCo going from like the standard, even their mini is like a full
Huge,
size
yeah.
knife. So I got this today. I was like, ooh, I actually was buying this to replace the mini bug out, but it's like the mini bug out's this big open.
That's like a 4-inch blade
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. So I don't mind it though because I still really like it. But so you just kind of like go by what you're feeling, like basically you do switch them out often.
Oh yeah, I've got a rotation. So I only brought a few of my folders, but I've probably got 20 folders or something like that. I mean, the ones that get the most pocket time are probably these three, I would think, and my bug out, of course. I've got a Civivi Elementum. If I know I'm gonna be, it's a cheapie. It's actually not that bad. It's like $60. It's D2 steel, so it's okay, but you're gonna have to sharpen it all the time. But that thing's a tank. I'll use that if I know I'm gonna be cutting a lot of cardboard because it's just bigger. But yeah, usually these three are my go-to.
Switch between. That's kind of like even these three are mine. Or again, I have that mini. Do I have another one? Not really.
But I think you'll like
I do. I said this last time you brought this. I don't know why I like.
It's such a simple design, but it feels great in the hand. Like it works.
Yeah, and I think I remember when I put this in my pocket, it like sits so nice in your pocket, like nice and low and small. And
this is S35 VN, so it's a little better than, like, I think it won't be as good as the M4, but this will be S30 probably.
20V,
20
right?
CV, okay, so that's good. That'll be a better steel than this. This is probably S30. Yeah, so the S35 VN will be a little bit better than the S30V, but similar sort of edge retention, toughness.
As far as mine goes, like obviously even just looking at even the other stuff I have, you can tell I'm probably more of like a looks type of guy, you know.
Yeah.
Benchmade, like even just I don't know. I'm just on the kick of them right now, like for the last little bit.
Hey man,
but
a lot of guys love Benchmade. They are good knives. They're just too expensive for out there. That's
I get it. Totally.
beef.
I get it. And
I love the knives.
it's like that just reflect like usually I got to be more responsible about how much I pay for stuff in general, but it's a hobby. It's like, you know, it's like,
if you like how it looks,
right?
then it deserves a premium, right? Yeah, the Starbucks is the perfect analogy for it. 'Cause Tim Hortons coffee's, $1 cheaper, and it's the same shit. I do think though, once you get some pocket time with the
do they have those at Relics?
Yep, that's where I got this. Ooh, yeah,
I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah, they've got dozens of them,
different colors and everything.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going tomorrow to see. What are those there? $200?
Yeah, $215 or something like that.
I'm going tomorrow. I'll send you which one I get. Maybe do they have this there?
No. Nowhere in Canada that I've found other than a place in BC.
Banter. I see these guys, this on, who do you watch? Do you Blade HQ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Banks.
Yeah. They do a lot of good stuff on there, I find.
That's why it says on the blade, it's got WIUG, because that Ben, I think his name's Ben Banks or whatever. He would always come in and say, "What is up, guys?"
And that's like
that's
hilarious.
And his Ben Banter blue. That's why the first Banter came out in blue, because this is his favorite color. And he had a lot of obviously you've seen him because you mentioned, but he had a lot of must-haves with his blade, and one of them was he has to be able to get his finger to the end.
Interesting.
So that's why it's the size it is, because he wants to
You know what? So I'm gonna go get that one, and then because this one didn't really fill the hole of my missing mini bug out. That one would. More so definitely than this one.
Yep. And like I said, it's got a super deep pocket.
That's what I was saying. I remember when I put that one in my pocket the first time when you brought it by, I was like, how much it just disappears in your pocket.
But also, other details, look at the screws. Even the screws in the pocket clip
are inside of it.
They're sunken in, so it's perfectly flush.
This is cool. It's
such a silly detail that nobody does. Even Spyderco, look at the friggin' screws stick up and the whole pocket clip.
Yeah,
This one's perfectly flush. Such an easy detail.
Yeah.
And it's ball bearing pivot. It's not.
This is loose. I lost one on here, so I check them all the time.
Thumb studs loose. Yeah, I got to stick some. Thank you. I got to stick some.
Watch that
goop on there.
I lost one on one of my. Yeah, it was the red one actually. The
souped up one?
Yeah. Damn. And it's that's what you get, I guess, for not anything knives, guns,
the guy that did
upkeep.
Put some Loctite on there for you.
He didn't. So it's a good friend of mine. He just does actually, he's a really good, I should hook you up with him. Probably does a lot of stuff. Spec Ops.
Yeah, I follow them. Yeah,
he does guns and so I basically broke the whole knife down, separated screws and everything. So I just got it back that. So I put it all back together. Anything that I've had him done, it's me bringing ideas. Can you do this? And because
studs, I would be using red Loctite because there's really no reason for you ever to take the stud off.
But I like this how it's kind of bronzy.
Yeah.
This one, just note that might be a little loose. The blue. I mean, would the blue look good on here?
I think so. There's a bunch of different. There's a gray color in this too. There's black. There's black with a black blade. There's also, they made a Space Kitty version. It's so silly. There's cats with astronaut suits and astronaut helmets. It's silly, but
it's different. It's
there's a bunch of different.
Do you have something silly? You have I swear I saw one. You brought one time, and it was something obscure like that.
Weird scales?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just from me looking everywhere all the time. I don't know. You think I should put those blue thumb studs on this one?
No.
Black and black, leave it black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you said you were sort of interested in flashlights, I guess. So,
Well, it's funny you say that because do you know Chris? Do you know Jade's cousin Chris?
no.
He just sent me this one. This is the one. It's that one, I think. He had it here today.
Olight? Yeah.
And I was like, he sent me the link for it. And I was like, ooh, maybe this red one.
Yeah, the Baton 2.
That
Or is
one.
that the Baton 3? That's
I don't
the
know.
3, Baton 3. Yeah.
Get this one?
Well, if you want it this size,
I
so there's
do.
a Baton 2 and a Baton 3. I like the 3 because it's 200 lumens more, and it actually comes with a self-charging case. You just plop it in, and it'll charge it 5 times.
So that one's smaller than the one, this one?
No, it's the same.
It's exact. That's a 3?
Yep.
Yeah, right? This is like, I was just messing with it today. Click it twice and it goes bright, right?
Yeah.
Or I might have turned it on bright. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super bright. Yeah. So that's 1,200 lumens. But I like it because they're magnetic too. Like you can just stick it anywhere and it stays.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm working on my car or I'm working in the garage or something, I just stick it on whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to
Hold it.
in
Or,
your mouth. And this one here is just this big brother. This one's 2,000 lumens, so it's like.
crazy. That's one thing I don't have. Yeah, is a good like flashlight.
And then there's like
Strobe.
the get away from me, scary. Yeah, so I don't really carry. Like I keep one in my car in my little kit, and then I keep one. Like actually, I sleep with a fan every night, so I have this like stuck to the fan in case I
Get up.
I
and-
hear the dog or whatever. I'll just turn it on, and they're good actually with the baby now. There's moonlight mode, so it's like half a lumen. It's like nothing. So
just enough to like get us.
see the stairs,
Yeah.
right? So I can walk over or wherever and see what's going on without waking them up or turning any lights on. So that's handy too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you been on a buying pause? Or do you like? Are you steadily getting one a month or something like that?
I
or-
moved on from knives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just moved on to home gym stuff now is my new sort of obsession. So that's where all my.
So what's your home gym? I kind of know, but I mean, not really. Like, what's that process been like?
Well, the week March 2020, when we sort of like were told, hey, things might lock down, I called Treadmill Factory and ordered like a Fit 505, one of those yellow racks.
Yeah.
I think you've seen it.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So I ordered that, and I ordered a bar and 300 pounds of plates. Actually, I ordered 2 bars and 2 300. So I had 600 pounds in plates and 2 bars. And the rack was like, I don't know, $700, something like that. And the bar and the plates were $300 for the kit. So it was 300 pounds including the bar. So 255 pounds plus the bar. So 300 pounds. It was only $300.
Yeah, that's like
That same kit right now is $700.
I believe it. That's like because I used to work at those. Like it was $1 a pound or just over.
Yeah.
Like if you were giving someone a deal, it was $1 a pound,
Yeah.
and now it's like
$10. Like
Insane.
I'm exaggerating, but it's crazy.
it's basically whatever someone wants to like.
So I was gonna get it delivered, but they were talking about locking down that week. So I was like, man, I bet you they're gonna close the store and I won't be able to get it delivered because the trucks won't go. So I borrowed Andre's truck.
Yeah.
And just drove up to Markham and picked it all up and brought it.
Oh, so you had to like shop around for treadmill factories that had it.
Markham's their warehouse.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all the like usually like the treadmill factories, they'll have one of everything, or one of most, just as a you can see it and then
Yeah, actually, because I had what did I get? I got that Extreme Monkey full cage and stuff. And
your rig downstairs?
Yeah, the rig, And the guy was saying that it basically like, especially for Extreme Monkey, it just comes all out of like
Calgary, I think, or something. Yeah.
There we go. It's getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went down there, picked it up.
Picked it all up, set it up, and then I had like some adjustable dumbbell handles where you spin the collar on. But have you ever used them? Like try to do bench press if you've got 100 pounds on the
Because it
handle?
adds so much more depth.
No, but like trying to
it.
get it on your knee because it's like this sitting on your knee with 100
Yeah,
pounds.
yeah.
So you could sort of got to rest it on the side and lift it up. So
Hope you screwed it on tight enough.
yeah. So I ended up like really.
Sir?
This is my test. Yeah, that's good. If you can
Tighter?
pull the lock and it goes like that, and if you can drop shut it,
Hypothetically, then, at that point, is there give in it? I didn't even check
tiny bit, like you might want to do
it. A quarter turn?
like an eighth. However much you're thinking, do less. So touchy.
Yeah, no, there's nothing there now, right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, so I was working out like that for a long time, and with resistance bands and these adjustable dumbbells. My workouts were taking forever because you have to sit on the floor and adjust the dumbbells.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on the cement floor. And then Regan Grimes was changing from FlexPlex to Regan Grimes gym. And it was quite a downsize in size. So he had all these stall mats that he wasn't using. So the nice guy that he is, he let me take, 9 stall mats just for free.
Yeah.
If I came and picked them up. So I almost would have rather paid him for them.
Those things are a bitch, huh?
They're
like 100 pounds each.
100 pounds each, but you can get carriers for them.
Dude.
I didn't know that.
So
I'm pulling him up the stairs from the basement in his gym up into a U-Haul, taking him home.
I think I did 50 of them solo. Like through the doors, like
your hands are destroyed after because they're
don't
full
even
of
get
metal
me
flakes.
started. Literally, yeah. So I can relate to that.
And then I went through probably 10 blades on my X-Acto knife cutting them.
Oh yeah, I've done that. Literally
horrible,
10.
yeah.
And then it's like, and then I'd look for some sort of saw for it, and you can't because it's rubber, so it'll get stuck. You have to make the slit, and then just boom, 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 rip a little. Oh, don't want to fuck the slit up, so you got to sit there and. Anyways, yeah,
it's the worst. Yeah, so I wish I had known about those carriers that you can get.
Still didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's like a suitcase handle, but when you pull on it, it tightens it on.
Yeah.
So you stick it on there, lift it up, and you carry it. Oh man, it would have made all the difference in the world. So yeah, carrying those up the stairs from the basement of his gym to the truck and then home, and then I put them all in the driveway and power washed them and scrubbed them. So it took hours. So I got that, and then also he had at FlexPlex he had 2 full sets of dumbbells from 5 to 100, and then up to 140.
Yeah.
And when he downsized, he only had room for 1. So again, the nice guy that he is, he gave me a smoking deal on.
So you just scooped all of those racks up.
Yeah, 2 racks.
Are those the racks you're talking about now?
Yeah. 2. I'm trying to convince Ian to take one of these racks.
Yeah. Well, honestly, not so. Funny story about this is we mentioned something about a job. I was Jacob from OEV was on here, and he mentioned they were hiring, and someone actually went to. So what I'm getting to is, if you're actually trying to sell them, you could you have a full rack for sale.
2 full racks, yeah.
With dumbbells or no dumbbells?
No dumbbells.
So just to throw that out there, there's empty dumbbell racks available if anyone wants them.
Strength racks,
yeah. So you got those from him. What else do you get from?
And the dumbbells from 10 to 140.
Yeah.
I won't say the price I paid because it was too good to be true. Regan's a good friend, so he gave me a good deal.
Yeah.
But that's been life-changing to have a full set of commercial dumbbells, right? And now, to make some space, I just commissioned a friend of mine in Woodstock who has got a machine shop to make me a custom 3-tier rack.
Yeah.
So I had to design it so that it's not 3 tiers and super wide. Because most of them are super wide, so I want it pretty compact and 3 tiers tall.
But how much are you going to be able to fit on there? Do you have to get a couple of them?
No, just one. So I've got 20. Right now I have 22 sets of dumbbells.
From 10 to 140 or whatever.
10 to 140, but I only have 100s, then I have 110s, 120s, and 140s.
That's kind of like what we did, and then in the meantime, there's a little bit of a jump there.
125, just 10, 20, 40.
Yeah.
Because I would, I'm not going to press anything.
Well, you also
120s,
know what, right? Then it's nice to have a
140s for rows or whatever, So, the rack he's making me will hold 21.
So you'll have a pair off or whatever. Or no, not even. You'll have extra room. How many pairs did you say you had?
I've got 21 spots, but at the top, if they're spaced evenly to hold 21, but I'm going to condense the 5, 10s, and 15s so they're closer.
Yeah.
So there's room. It'll hold it all.
So you're replacing the ones you're selling with those ones.
Yeah, so it'll give me 4 feet extra room. And I just bought a Bells of Steel glute ham raise machine combined with a reverse hyperextension.
Yeah.
So
that's going to go there.
I love glute ham raises, and I've been missing them since I left commercial gyms. And I've only really used a reverse hyper maybe 4 times in my life, but I love them. Not many commercial gyms have them. But do you have one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sick.
Yeah, we have Did we had two. I don't remember. I think I got rid of the one, but yeah, we have a nice one.
Give you a juicy dumper if you use that.
It's good. Yeah. Like the one we have is a hammer strength. It's nice. Yeah.
And man, I've been using it for curls, tricep kickbacks, like the reverse hyper swing thing.
Yeah.
Just put a chain in the handle. Today I was using it for like lateral.
Yeah. I guess you could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You can
For sure.
do anything with it. Yeah.
Because it's probably pretty free motion, or like at least you can definitely get yourself to a spot
See
where
people
the
row with it, upright row.
Yeah.
It's just a swinging arm, right?
Yeah.
So you put weight on it and attach a chain. You could even, like, for the girls out there, like doing those donkey kickback
Kickbacks.
things, stick weight on it, just put your foot on it and kick it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that, and the handle stick out, so you can do dips on it too
Yeah.
if you want.
So how many like phases? Like how many times are you like, okay, this is my gym. Okay, next phase. Like has there been like 2 big phases, or is there just like a handful?
It's sort of been ongoing. Like I said, I get obsessed. So it's back to the beginning. It started with the cheap yellow rack, and then I got the dumbbells, the floor. Then I got some. I met this dude. I still talk to him. Met this dude on Kijiji that sold me this super cheap like leg extension machine.
Yeah.
It had a shoulder press all built in. Like if you put anything more than a plate on it, it tips over.
It's wobbly.
So I sold that really soon after. And then I got, what did I get? A vertical leg press, a custom made one from
Yeah, I remember that.
Toronto.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like,
Just the positioning of it.
and the space it saves, like a leg press takes up like 8 feet.
Yeah.
This thing's super compact, but it'll hold 1,000 pounds, so it's more than I'll ever need, which is great. Picked that up for $1,000, and then there was a gym in Leamington that was shutting down because of COVID, and he was selling everything, and he had like a Life Fitness, I think, old school Life Fitness strap instead of cable,
Oh yeah.
commercial grade pull down and row. They go 300-pound stacks, $700 a piece.
Yeah.
I think those are $5,000 machines.
I know those are the whole set we have on the one side is the straps.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole, it's like
last
the
way
urban Atlantis, like the whole circuit is the straps. And they're like, they last forever. I haven't had them long enough to be forever, but it's nice because they don't like tighten up or like get sticky because it's just a rubber strap, right? That runs through it all. I like those ones. Yeah.
Same. So I got those lucked out with the price on that. And then there was a guy, man, I feel bad for this guy. He's in Windsor. He had a full, I don't know, probably, the size of this to where that table is. So maybe, I don't know, 20 by 30 room in his basement that was all home gym. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
But he had like a heart attack recently, and his doctor said, like, you have
rid
to
of
stop.
it because
you can't work out anymore. You have to stop. So whether his doctor was right or not, I don't know. But he listened, and he was selling everything off. I sat there and talked to the guy for about an hour when I picked it up and heard his story and whatnot. And feel bad for him, but I got a leg extension / curl machine and a pec deck, just plate loaded stuff.
It's weird, like doing that stuff because I've picked up a lot of equipment from places closing down, especially over like COVID because we're expanding. So I've been like slowly trying to stockpile stuff, and like I got a bunch of stuff from a Crunch in like Toronto that was closing. But like at the end of the day, the Crunch is the guy that owned it. Like, he's just shutting down, and you're here. Like I've had so many, I've had a handful of conversations over the last 2 years of like, going to buy stuff, and they're like, well, how you doing? And it's like, I'm fine, like I don't want to tell them like it's never been better for my situation, but like, hearing that, and then like you kind of feel weird like picking, their stuff up as they're closing it. And I've had a bunch of those conversations, and it's like, I don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. We're expanding, like, because everyone's situation is somewhat different.
Yeah,
but
like you're buying it from someone whose lifelong business is crumbling.
Yeah, literally. And it's and I'm like, oh, that's a good price. Let me get that. Like, what else you want? Like,
and you're talking them down too. Like, hey, I know you said 1,000, but how about $600?
Yeah.
And this poor guy's just trying to,
get as much out of it as he can. But I mean, that is such his life. So
so I got those pieces. They're not commercial grade. They're body solid, so they're just cheapies. But honestly, like I use them twice a week each. It's going to last me forever.
Yeah, or until you want to upgrade or do whatever.
I only have a car and a half garage, so like I don't have room.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for my machines. But then I recently decided to do like a pretty big upgrade to my my power cage. So I upgraded to a full 3x3.
Did you sell that yellow and get another one, or you just like reinforced it? And new one?
I sold it. Yep. So I got a just Element Fitness from Treadmill Factory. Mm-hmm. I regret getting it. I should have just got a Rogue one, not because it's not as good, but the holes on the Element Fitness, there's holes all the way around each upright, but they're all in line. And as you know, the Rogue ones, they're offset.
Yeah, so you can put different shit there.
Yeah, and there's the keyhole in them too. So I bought the Rogue lever arms.
Yeah.
So basically any hammer strength exercise you want to do. So I bought the Rogue lever arms, and they have hitch pins that you stick in to secure the lever arm. And they won't work because it's made for a Rogue, which is offset.
That's annoying.
So I wish I had got the Rogue. Like the price difference was probably only $1,500 or something.
Yeah, still though. I mean, it's like, No, honestly, like I know, right? Because it's like stuff like that. It's like if you just did it right the first time,
buy once, cry once.
Yeah. That's like here, like little change subject, but not really. The podcast, like getting the right, like people are like, oh, the mics are awesome. Like it's like your audio sounds amazing. It's like there's none of my doing. I just bought the right equipment the first time, so I don't have to like go back and forth.
Well, it's the same with tools. My dad taught me years ago, just buy the good one, because if you go to Canadian Tire and buy the shitty Mastercraft one, you're going to be back later that afternoon because you broke it.
At the end of the day, you're going to spend more than what you would have just buying the good one the first time. So so you upgraded that recently.
Yeah, but I honestly, I think maybe the Rogue one wouldn't have worked because this one, it's got plate storage. So it's a 6-post one, 6 uprights, right?
I know what you mean, yeah.
So it's got plate storage at the back, and then it's got, the cage that you work in. Mm-hmm. The Rogue one, the plate storage,
minimal.
It was bigger.
Oh, bigger, yeah.
So it would have stuck out like another 6 inches of mine, and it's already pretty tight.
What about those ones that like the one over here, like the ones that mount to the wall, or like you can
fold in?
Yeah.
It wouldn't work for what I want.
Yeah.
I just got too much stuff I got to store.
Yeah.
So anyways, I went with the Element. I got the Rogue lever arms, which I use pretty frequently. They're like super handy. I got some Rogue like leg rollers for doing a whole bunch. Like I do. Do you remember you actually showed me this exercise at Adelaide 10 years ago? The hyperextension machine, the back hyperextension.
Yeah.
You would do bent over laterals on it for your rear delts.
Yeah.
That's my favorite way to train rear delts.
Yeah,
I haven't had a way to do it other than just bend over, maybe put my head on a bench.
But it's still not the same because you're not like your feet aren't locked in wherever you are. Like the angle's still like this at the end of the day. I mean, hips go, but
So I actually bought it for that. I didn't buy it to do split squats.
I never sold you mine, right? Hyperextension?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I use these to make a hyperextension. So I put one of the leg rollers at the bottom of the rack on the crossbar, and I put one at the top. So I kind of lean over it, and my feet are jammed up in the other one. I can bend over and do the laterals.
That's cool.
Yep, I can do it for like preacher curls as well, and obviously Bulgarian split squats. So those are handy. I actually did an exercise, incline curls, where I'm on the bench and I put the rollers at my elbows, so it's like super straight. That was neat. It takes too long to set up,
but stuff like that, like you don't realize how much, like that's a machine in itself, like the whatever isolated individual bicep curls is like to do it all that.
Most of the reason that I'm obsessed with like finding all these new things is just to keep me interested enough in working out alone in my garage to keep going. Because if I'm just out there doing flat bench and standing barbell curl, I don't want to do it anymore.
Do you find that like is that your way of like convincing yourself to keep doing it? But like I feel like that's an honest way to do it, because a lot of people would just get their home gym, use it for a little bit, and then not be honest with themselves on why they're. And 99% of the time is because they just don't have that different selection. So whereas if they were actively trying to give legitimate new exercises to their home gym, it'd be a whole different story.
Yeah, like I told you before we started chatting here, I'll never go back to a commercial gym because I think they betrayed us over the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's luckily I'm in this super unique position where I did it. Like I was able to not do that, but I don't know if you heard any of the conversations with like some of the bigger gyms owner, like where they're more CrossFit style, like, it's hard as an individual place and to make decisions. And
I know, listen, I'm sure we'll get talking about that. Maybe this is a good segue, but I have a hard time supporting a business that betrayed us. I know they had a choice to make, No,
I get it too.
Get fines and stay open or close. And, they all got hurt too, because if they're closing, they're not making money, but it doesn't align with my. I'm not going.
I
back.
agree. And again, it's just a place I was in where I was like, I'm lucky to not or whatever. My stance on it is enough to like not be one way where I feel like I need to close or one feel like I'm obligated to open or obligated to close. I'm like, you can deal with the cards that I'm dealt. And then luckily was able to like make a conscious enough decision to like, navigate correctly and stay open and not be like too much in the radar. And like, even we were like, people like we were open, people knew what they'd call, we'd get bylaw here. So you don't see yourself ever going back to like,
only when I travel for work. Like,
you're saying
I
that.
kept my Fit for Less. I canceled my Good Life membership that I've had for 20 years. Canceled it.
And there's nothing else really out there, eh? Because we were talking about like no smaller gyms even.
Not that like
would you, even if you saw a smaller gym out there around you that was like reasonable to go to,
I'd pay for a day pass to go for sure.
But would you be like, hey, what did you do during COVID? Would that affect your decision, or you're just like, because like if you're talking about how that everyone knows that Good Life, they closed, it was like shut their doors, they kind of turned their back, but would it be like a decision where you had to figure out how they navigated it?
That's a great question. I think that I would try to seek out places
that you knew already kind of
That's right.
something you aligned with?
I don't think that, if I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba for work or something, I would go around to 5 or 6
see who was open during
and ask, hey, what was your policy? I may do a little online search beforehand and purposely seek that gym out and pay their day pass to go support them because thank you.
Yeah, true.
Thank you for either staying open or thank you for when you were allowed open again. You didn't ask people's medical information.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's like, or like how long maybe I think a lot of people are in the same boat with like Good Life, but like how long does that start, or when does it not affect your decision as much? I guess over time, inevitably, it kind of gets bled into the background, but I think a lot of people have switched their mentality or outlook on, bigger or smaller gyms and kind of like that applies to everything, not necessarily like just gyms, but
Sure.
like
I think we have to vote with our money, man.
Yeah.
Like if we punish corporations by not giving them our money, then that's really the only way that I think they'll feel like they don't care if you complain. They don't care if you call your MP and whatever. Like maybe a human rights violation and they have to pay $100,000 for discriminating against you if you win, which I've heard a lot of people have. Maybe that'll do it. But that's time consuming.
Yeah, is that what you want to do versus just like proving your money? Yeah.
And I'm going to convince as many people as I can to behave the same.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is there anything else on that topic like that you want to get into?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, because I'm pretty like I don't in the middle. I'd say in the middle. No, like I'm definitely like. I have a different perspective because I am a business owner and like I've had to I've felt like I've made a lot of my decisions based on a business owner standpoint versus like personal, whether like that's wrong in itself. It's honestly led me to probably stay open because I've said it before, but like the days where like bylaw came and we were like, let's just shut it down for the next day so that like it just, because they're going to come back and look that day. As a business owner, as a person, when we're closed are the least stressful days of my last, so if it was about personal and to like, the easy decision is to shut down and like, those days where we were just like, as a group, shut it down. So we'd just lay low. It's like, oh man, I'm like, weight off your shoulders a little bit, but I don't know where I was going with that, what we started talking about, but
I have a very strong viewpoint on a lot of this, which maybe I won't get into all of it, but I think most people will agree that the government fumbled this horribly from the beginning. They mismanaged it terribly. I think most reasonable people that are capable of critical thought,
I agree with that.
On any level can see that lockdowns did nothing.
I agree with that.
Nothing positive.
Yeah. Even now in retrospect, let alone like while it was happening, it's like I think even a like sound-minded person would have been like is able to put that together. I mean, you gotta, even that, you don't want to offend, like, unless, not unless as in referring to an excuse, but a lot of people, even if they are like, are just so, maybe family members or like, it's just easier to make a decision because they don't want to like stand up for like, and I'm being a hypocrite saying some of these things because like I've done things, without looking at or taking my personal opinion into it. But anyway, so so you're like nice and strong. Like, yeah, I definitely think that's been fumbled. Like,
yeah, I think, statistically, it is irrefutably true that lockdowns have done nothing.
Totally.
There's studies out of universities in the States. One came out recently that said it was a 0.5% effect that lockdowns had towards stopping the spread.
Yeah.
But what's the percentage of the negative effect? How many
massive.
people committed suicide? How many people lost their businesses forever that were generational businesses? How many people are now addicts? How many marriages and families were broken?
I think it's like 1 to 99%.
Yeah.
It's
how many kids are being delayed on learning how to speak because they can't see your face because everybody's wearing a mask? Actually, the CDC just changed all of the milestone thresholds for developing children
because of this setback in the next
speech got brought back 4 months.
Wow.
Because kids learn to speak, as you know, by looking at your mouth. And if all the kids they're around and all the teachers they're around all day at daycare and whatnot are wearing masks, they only come home and see mommy and daddy not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So they're missing out on a huge piece. So lockdowns, obviously they fumbled. The masking, I have a medical exemption for a mask. I was in a motorcycle accident a couple of years ago, and my ribs punctured my lungs, so I have breathing capacity issues. So I have medical exemption, so I haven't worn a mask anywhere ever.
Let's go over that.
I will in a second. But I mean, even the statistics around masking, my personal opinion aside, the statistics state that they're ineffective. Like your little Superman cloth mask. Even the surgical masks, they stop 60 microns. The virus is 3 microns. So it's literally like throwing a handful of sand through a chain link fence, right?
Yeah.
So like there may be some, if you sneeze, the spit's not going to go in your face, but the virus is an aerosol. It goes in the air and stays there for 40 minutes and it travels 30 meters.
Yeah.
So this 6 feet stuff doesn't work either. Anyway, So
it's kind of like, I don't, not to interrupt you there, but like we don't even have to, like it's refreshing to know that like you do have such a strong, I know you do have a strong standpoint on I think a lot of things people like. There's a difference in like kind of like I think everything you think and it's like respected and backed by science and everything like that. It's like it's the people that go one step further and like. I don't know what I'm trying to get at here is like, I mean, the people that want to project everything on people and like don't have the ability to like monitor what they're saying because of how it comes across or like, just the repercussions of it is like, I think that's a little refreshing because like, and it just goes to show like normal sounded people and their thoughts and being realistic. I guess.
Critical thinking, logical people. Yeah. So I think, what you're getting at is it's certainly in my lifetime haven't seen anything that's tribalized society like this. There are 2 tribes right now that transcend religion, race, sex, everything. There's 2 tribes. One is you're all about following what the government and the media says, and the other tribe is you're the opposite of it.
Yeah.
And they hate each other. But what's interesting, what I've noticed is the tribe that is following what the government and the media says are very intolerant of the other tribe. And they want to say, put your mask on, get your vaccine, stay 6 feet away, believe the science, all of this. You're an anti-vaxxer, you're anti-masker, you're anti-this.
Do you think those percentages are falling though a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll get to that in a second. But that tribe is very intolerant of the other tribe. Where I've found the other tribe who, to varying degrees disagree with the government and public health and all that. I mean, you've got people that go as far as you think there's microchips in the friggin' vaccine to people that I don't really think a mask does much, right? There's super varying degrees, but they're in that tribe.
Yeah, definitely.
I find that tribe is far more tolerant of the other tribe. Like myself,
Definitely.
I'm not, I've had COVID. I'm not really worried about it. I got over it. Every flu I've ever had in my life was far worse than COVID.
I agree. I agree with, and that you're bringing that to light is like, yeah, right. They are more tolerant of like,
yeah.
But I think it comes down to being like a rational,
Reasonable
critical
person.
thinking. I mean, like that's all it ever comes down to is like what makes that. It's like, oh, they're just being reasonable. And even if they don't, like they don't project their shit on you. Like again, there's
like CrossFitters and vegan.
Yeah.
It's like vegans almost. Like people that are like super into COVID, they're almost like vegans. So just to finish my thought, I think,
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think the way I look at it is if you want to have 38 vaccines, get 38 vaccines.
Yeah.
If you want to wear 4 masks, wear 4. If you want to stay home all day, do that. You do you. That's cool.
Exactly.
I think the government has no place to tell anybody what to do with their own personal health.
Yeah.
And I know there's an argument like, well, it's not your own personal health. It's you can infect and kill other people. But that's also been proven
It's also like the numbers thing.
incorrect
It's like
now because everybody's double or triple vaxxed and the cases were worse than they ever were.
even saying that, it's like, okay, like even if that's the case, it's like the good versus the pros versus the cons. It's like 2 people get infected because you don't wear your mask, but you lock the things down and like people are just committing suicide. Like the number of people like having those negative
but then you
consequences.
look at states like Florida,
Yeah.
who've been open forever, no masks anywhere, no mandates of any kind, and their numbers were far better than states that were locked down, 2 masks. Like there were states where the recommendation was to double mask.
Yeah.
Everybody's had 2 or 3 vaccines for a long time now. Lockdowns like crazy. Like New York as an example, their numbers were exponentially worse than Florida, and Florida's been wide open.
Yeah.
Explain this.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So I mean, I guess the data and the science. Look at India, right, or any number of places. Israel, the highest vaccinated country in the world with the worst numbers. So, nothing against vaccines, nothing against masking, nothing against any of that. I'm vehemently against lockdowns for sure. But the other stuff, if you want to get 100 vaccines, great.
To each their own.
Yep. But if you don't, I don't think the government or your employer or anybody should be able to compel you to do that.
Or give you consequences for not complying or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
What else? There's nowhere else that we do this in life.
Yeah.
I just think I think the government mishandled it. I think it created mistrust in the government and in the media, which was defund.
Yeah, big time, right? Like, I mean, that's like the fuel to it all. And just not to get away from that, but you have, how old's yours?
8 months.
Okay, so
he had COVID. He gave it to me.
Probably like the best time, right? Like as far as so Tatum she'll be 3 in September. My birthday's October. She'll be 3 in September. She started daycare. She goes to an awesome daycare. It's like 5 kids. It's like an at-home daycare. So she's been doing that, and she's had that in like when schools were closed. So she went right basically, I guess when it started is when she started school almost around the same time. Like if it was that September, I think it was that March where where she started in September. COVID kind of hit that following New Year, like February, March. But she was able to still interact like with there was no masks involved in like, and the at-home daycare is like rational people thinking, like you can handle it that way. So what I'm getting at is like she didn't have that I'll call it trauma from being in school with all the other kids wearing masks. Like her development and her, other than going to the malls or wherever and seeing other people masked, like I think her development still, we got lucky that she hadn't just entered grade 1 or something like that, where it was like, closed for 6 months. She missed grade 1. She missed grade 2. Like she's still been able to, I think, develop how she normally would. And I think you're obviously your son will be in the same boat because he's not even there yet. Luckily, like this will kind of be like as you were born, what I'm saying is I think both of us are lucky that it doesn't really affect our kids, and to some extent where like they're missing like the early elementary school grades and like all this. And I guess that's still with enough optimism that when she does get back there, not back there. When she does get to a elementary school, it'll be over. It'll be a little bit more like, hopefully, I guess I'm counting my eggs before they hatch, and assuming that she will experience that. But I can't imagine our kids were like, you know, a couple years older and having that, and like how you're saying, seeing the development. Like she came home from daycare, and it's like, the things she picks up on is like insane. And like, when what's your no daycare, right? Obviously.
No, Julia's going to hopefully take, 15, 18 months.
Yeah.
And, I think I would be fine with her being a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Until he goes to school, just because I think I would rather my wife raise my son than a stranger.
Yeah, and I couldn't. We got super lucky with our situation where it's like we know them. Like the text message, like we get a text message every day at 1:00 with like pictures of what they did that day. Awesome. And like a little like recap of it all. Like it's literally like this is what's going on today, and then these are the pictures today.
Oh, cool!
Right, every single day. So we got super
private then.
Yeah. It's like a 5. Like it's actually an old client of mine. His wife it's in Komoka, and it's 5, and she's been doing it forever, and she still follows all the like. It's not like
maybe you'll have to give me your number.
Yeah, well, it's Komoka, so. But yeah, like if you do, like,
gotta do what you gotta do.
It's perfect, man. Yeah. Like she was and it's a teacher's schedule, so because a couple of the other kids were teachers' kids, so like she still works in the summer. She's still there. Like, but Tatum, since she's 1, so you guys like almost 1. Yeah. Before she was walking, she was at daycare 5 days a week, like just soaking everything in, even more than she would if it was no like COVID and shit. So it's just another instance of like. You got to, I guess, be grateful for some of the situations you get in. But imagine like, it's like
a kid that was like 10 years old or something right now and had to be muzzled up.
And even like Tatum, it's like she knows, like, I guess as bad as it gets is like she knows like mama and dada mask, going into the mall, no TT. And so like she knows that, and like that in itself is like, I mean, other than me, being the person to cause this, like, what's more detrimental to her?
Yeah, she doesn't want to see daddy being
conflict versus like I still feel it's like, oh man, she knows like that mask versus no mask, and luckily again, she doesn't. I don't think she's not developing in the ways because. All the kids at school are not wearing masks and shit like that. But
well, back to the mask thing. I think like just to be clear, I think that masks are fine.
I'm like not a confrontational person either. Like unfortunately, like if depending on your scale of how strongly you feel, like some people get mad at people who wear masks just because even if they're not at the end of the day or at the beginning, their main concern is not doing what you feel is right. I guess there's people out there that say no matter what, you have to do what you think is right. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm like, I know I don't want to wear a mask, but I'm not it's
a hassle.
It's a hassle. I'm nervous of those situations.
Yeah, I have 2 thoughts on that. So, I think masks are fine if you want to wear them. For elderly people, for at-risk people, they should be sure. Yeah, it makes sense, right? If you want to wear them, great. I think the statistics no longer really support it, but hey, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional. If the statistics support it, fine. But also I'm very pro-choice across the board. I think if you want to take a risk, then that should be your choice.
Yeah.
The other people are wearing a mask, and now the CDC has come out in favor of one-way masking, saying if you wear a good quality N95 mask, one-way masking is effective now, so you don't have to wear one if I'm wearing one, which isn't what they said a long time ago. So that's good news, I guess. So that just helps support the position I'm saying that if you don't want to wear a mask, and I do, I should feel fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's step one. I'm very anti-mandate. Mm-hmm. So if people want to wear masks, if companies have policies where people are sitting in cubicles side by side all day and they want to have a mask policy, okay, that makes sense. Sure. Or if you're working in an office setting and everybody's kind of sharing the same air all day long, okay, sure, that makes sense. But like seeing kids have to wear masks outside on track and field practice, it's just not very scientific.
Yeah.
And kids, their susceptibility to COVID is negligible. Like kids aren't dying from COVID. So
me and Tatum both had it like not like relatively recently, and me and her had the best week at home. Yeah. Like it was awesome, and you're probably not, but she's getting to the age now where it's fun to be like, she's talking, she's trying to talk, she's running around, she's being wild, she's funny, she's laughing, whatever, and like. That's obviously a little doesn't, but both of me and her, like nothing at all. And obviously everyone's different. Some people get hit harder and blah, blah, blah.
I lost my taste and smell.
I did nothing. I have kids like that I test just for, I like to be on top of it. My biggest fear is just being that person that brings it in here and like, and it runs through everyone. I think
that's responsible.
Right. And it's like everything else aside. So naturally I just test every couple of days or whatever. Yep. And I had no symptoms, and I tested positive, and so needless to say, I absolutely zero symptoms. Me and Tatum like stayed at home for just to be respectful. Obviously, like not to just be respectful, but to do what's right. I guess.
You don't want to pass.
Yeah. So,
but I would do the same with the flu or a cold.
Exactly.
Right?
Like that's the thing. It's like you would do the exact same thing, and then even to go the other way, it's like there is an element where it's like people are like, oh, it's not that big of a cold. I'm coming to work today. Like it's like, but both ways, it's like tolerable in a way, I guess, right? Like you would kind of like, some people might be like, fuck, you got to stay at home, but it's like, that's the end of discussion, continue on with your work day. Whereas now it's like, I'm quitting. This guy should be fired and fined and in jail.
Murder.
And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, maybe I'm not making my point clear. Like I think there's cases, like I said, in an office setting or something like that. I think it's probably responsible. Right.
I think just for the record, I don't think I 100% agree with what you're saying. And like,
yeah, but if you're at the shopping mall and it's already reduced capacity, or you're outside or you're in your car alone, like I don't think it makes sense to make little kids wear masks at recess outside.
No, totally.
I just don't understand that. So also you mentioned the testing thing. I've always thought since day one, like rather than, all these mandates around medical procedures and things like this, why wouldn't we just say, hey, everybody has to test 3 times a week?
No kidding.
That way, or even every day, right? Because people that have, like everybody, the virus is transmitting whether you're vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
We know that. It's happened. Like look at Omicron. Everybody's sick, whether you're vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
And that was happening before too. They called it a breakthrough. I think it happened a little bit more than we thought. Mm-hmm. But if you had to test every day, then unequivocally, hey, I don't have it. I'm safe to come to work.
It goes back to like being a rational sounded person. Like even when I was in the midst of it, where I'm like, I'm not closing. How are we going to do this? My first thing is like, fuck it. Everyone just test once or twice a week.
Sure.
Everyone knows. I don't give a shit if you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. You're welcome. But you're welcome to come.
Sure.
But like that's reasonable. And if you have a problem with that at that point, my thing was like, that's on you. Like
that is reasonable.
Yeah. If you're not going to meet someone halfway, and like we can stay open, we can be everyone can continue to have their health and wellness, and like everyone, let's just fucking test. I'm not going to ask the people that are not, like certain people to test and not to test. And it's like,
of course,
everybody
should test.
If you have a problem with that, then that's on you, and I don't give a shit.
You're unreasonable at that point. Yeah, for sure. I think testing was always the answer. Now, say what you want about the test being faulty or not faulty.
I'm not, it's like, what is whatever it is.
It's the best tool we had. Wasn't perfect, but it was the best tool. I think because everybody was transmitting it, it only makes sense just to test everybody. Then hey, everybody that's at work today in this office tested negative 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Right? And we're probably not all going across to the mall to get lunch and interacting with a whole bunch of people. So it's likely safe to say that at the end of the day, nobody's caught it as well.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we're all going to test. And the next day whether it's every day, 3 days.
Totally.
That's, I think, would have been the best solution. And then, old folks' homes, things like that, those should have been locked up tight.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you need to test, you have to mask, you have to shield, you have to everything, hazmat suit even to go into these old folks' home because that's where 80% of the deaths were. Was the old folks home. So protect those people.
And again, not to beat a dead horse here, but that's the epitome of just being a reasonable, rational thinking person. Like, So I don't know. It's like,
And then back to the mask thing. Like you said, you're not really confrontational. I think. Well, you remember this from when we worked at the bar. I'm no stranger to confrontation. Maybe a little guilty of causing it sometimes.
Yeah, no, but like
younger years.
Yeah, but I would say that like I'm sure it's obvious without saying it. Like there's people out there that are like going out of their way to cause a ruckus about masks.
Yeah, they've got their phones out recording.
Whether they're on either side, and unfortunately now it's more the people that are on the no mask. Like you don't see really people with masks walking around like saying, look at this asshole who's not wearing, sorry, I keep playing with your foot.
Oh, that's okay.
Look at this asshole who's not wearing, who's wearing a mask. Or maybe I got that backwards, but
I know what you're
know, it's like those people like headhunting drama. It's like, Woody, you're like not a rational sounded person.
Sure.
Like,
yeah. They're looking for trouble, but I think, because I'm exempt, I'm not going to wear a mask in a store.
So have you had any like shit that's like at the end of the day, like you ultimately didn't go into that because like you couldn't? I mean, when I say that I couldn't, like, have you got many times where the resistance was too much to like, and you had to? Yeah.
So what I was going to say is I've started out always trying to remain pretty non-confrontational, but as the 2 years have gone by, I've started to feel a level of discrimination. And I know that's such a buzzword that gets thrown around, but I have a medical condition that's preventing me from doing something. And you're telling me I can't participate in your service?
That is the definition.
You're telling me I can't participate in the service you provide because I have a medical condition. So the example I always use to try and explain it to people is if I were in a wheelchair and I rolled into your store, would you tell me I had to stand up in order to enter your store? Well, that's not the same, sir. No, hold on. It is exactly the same. Just because my medical condition isn't visible doesn't make it any less legitimate. So you wouldn't tell someone in a wheelchair, oh, sorry, sir, you need to stand up and walk around in order to use our service.
Yeah.
You would never say that. You would accommodate their condition.
Of course.
Well, you legally have to accommodate my condition. Per the code, the same law that says that everybody has to wear a mask says those with exemptions don't, and you have to.
So do you think it like the people that claim like it's like the doctors? It's like the note like from their doctor to go to certain places. Do you think like the people that are just claiming medical exemptions are fucking it up? Like paint that picture bad for you because like think that lady that doesn't believe you on your or like gives you a tough time about your medical exemption. Do you think she had 10 people come in that I know like?
I don't think so because I know what you're saying, but over the course of the last 2 years, up until like when the Freedom Convoy started and kind of sparked some courage in a bunch of people, I had only seen maybe 5 or 6 people over the whole 2 years in stores without masks.
Sure, okay, so that's fair.
Never seen anybody
I agree. Me neither. Right? Yeah.
So I don't think it was that common. People would be like, "I'm exempt,"
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah.
But they're usually when they say, "Oh, sir, do you need a mask?" I just say, "Oh, I'm exempt, thank you." Usually like, "Oh, okay, no problem." Or sometimes they'll be like,
"Yeah, right." And
give me but I've also had people say, "Well, what's your exemption?" And I'm like, "Well, that's, respectfully, that's none of your business."
Yeah.
And some people have said, "Well, you have to prove it." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, you're mistaken. No, I don't."
Yeah.
And other places say, "Well, it's our policy. That doesn't matter if you're exempt." And then I have to explain to them that, well, your policy doesn't trump law. The law states this, and they say, well, it's a private business. Okay, yes, but you have public accommodations, which means if someone has a disability, the Canadians with Disability Act says that you must accommodate that disability. I know there's a mandate out right now, but you must accommodate this disability. And they keep saying it's our policy. Okay, I don't work here. Your policy doesn't apply to me. And then they say, well, it's private. We can trespass you. Well, the Trespass Act says that I can't be trespassed unless I'm breaking a law or causing a disturbance. I'm not causing a disturbance, and I'm not breaking any law because of the aforementioned policy. Or the law I stated. And, yes, the police can come and remove you and trespass you, But then it's very easy to get a lawyer and file a human rights complaint and sue them for $100,000.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly the same as the wheelchair example.
For sure.
I'm not faking my exemption. I have a legitimate exemption with a two doctor's notes.
Well, and bring it somewhere. It's not like you don't have any feet to stand on. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't discriminate against people with disabilities. But maybe your point is true. Maybe some folks are lying. Maybe they're...
No, I get that. I asked that because not because I'm assuming. You're right. You say that, and I'm like, yeah, probably people at the end of the day aren't doing that as much as like one would perceive that's happening. How many times, like, how many conversations have you had to like, and again, there's a difference between like you telling me, like you just told me, like matter of factly, not matter of factly, but respectfully, like you're not an enemy of this person. Like that person, to give them the benefit of the doubt, is just doing what they're told or whatever.
Well, it's a 17-year-old kid.
But like, then it's like, it's like, that's going to go, I have so much more respect for that person, or like that person, you approaching it that way can fit in and like not, can be respected more than it's like, oh, I've been waiting for you to tell me no because
get the phone out and starts recording. It's like, no, I get it. I think there's a right way, a wrong way. I don't.
How many times have you had you explain that and then not had it and then kind of like had to exit, or just not had to,
Two
like
times.
Felt the need, like, fuck it, I'm exiting.
I've never given in.
Okay.
There's been times where like it's gotten quite confrontational. Like Best Buy was one of them.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're not perfect. So,
sure,
someone pokes you the right way. It's like, but again,
I never yell and scream and I don't swear at them, but I'm standing my ground. I'm not like, you're not going to, I refuse to be discriminated against is usually what I say. I refuse to be discriminated against. Not wrong guy, not today. It's not happening. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to shop. I'm not going to go around and open mouth kiss your customers. Don't worry.
Yeah, seriously.
I want to come in, be treated the same as everybody else, pay for my items and leave. Only two places, Costco and Canadian Tire in St. Thomas.
Yeah.
Those are the only two places where like they start crowding you and they're like, you can't even come in. Like we're like, they'll form a wall. You're not coming in. And, of course, part of me really wants to be like, well, drag me out then.
Yeah.
But I'm 37 years old. I have a family. Like I don't want that kind of confrontation anymore. So those are the only two places. But there's been dozens of places that have said, you can't come in. It's our policy. I educate them and then they back down.
Yeah.
Right? Like even the bank the other day, this manager tried to be confrontational with me. I said, come outside. Let's talk in private. Because he was centering me out in front of the entire bank and the customer base. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I use the wheelchair example again. I'm like, would you call somebody out in a wheelchair and say, stand up, sir, or leave? Like, come outside and talk to me in private. Like, let's be respectful.
Yeah.
And I tried educating him and he said, like, no, use the drive-thru. And I said, no, I'm going to continue to come in and do the business that I'm legally allowed to do, right? Like I was taking money out. I don't want to go to the drive-thru and take a bunch of money out and have it catch wind and go all over the sidewalk.
Nonetheless, you don't have to explain yourself.
Right.
I don't give a shit. I like coming in here.
Exactly. But I don't want to be a jerk about it like that.
Yeah.
Usually people are pretty reasonable. And when you say, I have an exemption, like, oh, okay, like no problem.
Yeah.
The hospital, when Julia gave birth, they were cool. Like I just said, I have an exemption. They made me put a sticker on, which I peeled off right away. I'm not going to wear an identifying sticker. Like the parallels to history is crazy on that.
Yeah. No kidding.
But they were great. Like perfectly accommodating, no mask in the room, no mask. But then I went to the hospital in London to do an allergen test and they wouldn't even let me in. Yeah. They said, no, you got to wear a mask. And I'm like, well, get your manager.
Yeah. Right?
So I waited 30 minutes for the manager to come down, pleaded with the manager, explained, I never show people my note, but I actually pulled up my note just to try and ease her concern. I said, like, listen, it's legitimate.
I'm not trying to pull a fast one.
Yeah, exactly.
Here.
So,
call you're a hospital. Fucking look at my medical records if you. I mean, I don't know.
They can't.
I know.
But I pulled up my note just to try to be reasonable, right? Like I'm not an unreasonable person. So I showed them, like, listen, it's legit, and they're like, sorry, like it's a hospital. I'm like, well, I was in the other hospital 3 months ago. I've been in another hospital. I've been in 2 hospitals with no mask and it was fine. But this hospital, for some reason, was like, nope. So I left. Same thing happened with a physiotherapist. I went for my knee and, they said, well, they let me in first all the way to the back room. And then the physio person came and said, do you have a mask? I said, oh, I'm exempt. oh, well, it's our policy. And I said, okay, well, your policy doesn't trump law. I did the whole spiel. And they said, well, do you have proof? And this was sort of earlier on, and maybe I wasn't feeling very reasonable that day, but I said, listen, like, I'm not legally obliged to show you proof. That's right in the law. Mm-hmm. You can claim an exemption and not even the police can demand proof. So I said, like, I'm not legally obliged to show you proof, and I prefer not to. Like, I'm feeling quite centered out right now. Again, there's people around.
Yeah, for sure.
And they said, well, we can't treat you. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'll leave. No problem. But I'm going to need your regional manager's information. So I spoke to the regional. I actually considered suing them with a human rights violation. I ended up giving up mainly because I thought that I probably could have been more reasonable and showed them the note, right, and met them halfway, which doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah, but man, like, that's like, I was just about to interrupt you and say, like, what do you say to the people that like get pissed at you then for giving up? And it's like, you followed up by being a super rational person, saying like, I could have maybe done better on my end. So it's not about giving up. It's about, I could have done better. Maybe it would have gone a different way if I was better. Maybe not, but just giving someone the benefit of the doubt and thinking that way. Like,
yep. Had I shown them the note and they still refused me service, then I may have taken legal action. But, back to your comment about just being obstinate for the point of being obstinate, I just kind of reflected on it and thought, to your point, maybe I could have been. It doesn't feel good to be asked for the note and have to prove it. And that's why I usually won't, because I don't think that I should be questioned.
I get it, yeah.
I don't like my integrity being questioned at all.
I get that for sure.
Anytime I've had to show the note, I really feel like, okay, so you're saying I'm a piece of shit?
Yeah.
You think I'm a liar? Like, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, and that's kind of where my fuel to asking the question about like, but I wonder what that is then, because you're right. A lot of people aren't probably playing an exemption card that don't have, like, that are just trying to play a card for the sake of not wearing a mask. So it's like, if that genuinely doesn't happen enough to like kind of give people a sour taste to approach anyone without a mask on, like, is it just like a power thing at that point if they're genuinely not like worried or
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think for the most part, these people are probably doing their jobs.
Yeah, and just kind of getting told.
Like I said, they're 17-year-old kids or, whatever. Their boss said, you have to make sure.
And that's kind of an easy card to play too. Like, hey man, I'm just doing what I'm told. And like, even, at the end of the day, someone higher up in a store is ultimately still probably doing what they're told to do from corporate or whatever. But
yeah, so that's why I'm never rude to people that ask. Like, I know they're just doing their job. But I'll tell you, it's not comfortable. Like, every day when I go somewhere, I have to disclose my medical history to somebody and say I'm exempt. And, I'm fine doing that. That's cool. I get it. I understand the reason why. And like I said, most people, they'll accept it. But I really don't like when there's a follow-up push after that. Yeah. That really,
for sure, it
2
would.
years into it, it's tiring, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's very tiring. So I always try to stay away from people. Like when I'm at the grocery store, I will be respectful and give people a wide berth. I'm not purposely walking.
You don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable or like
I'm
just
reasonable.
goes to anywhere. Like you would do the same thing if you were going to the store to pick up flu medication because you had the flu.
Yeah.
You'd be like, conscious of your actions. And it's like,
I realize that somebody not wearing a mask makes folks feel uneasy. So I just proactively, if there's 3 people down an aisle, I'll go down a different aisle and come back the other way. Like I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable, but I also can't wear a mask because I get dizzy instantly. I have a medical, my ribs puncture my lung.
Yeah.
So it's been an uncomfortable 2 years, like consistently having to argue with people, just to get food.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Crazy. Do you think it's like all it's starting to appear in the rear view?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I do hope so. I don't understand why other provinces are lifting the masks and Ontario isn't.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I also don't understand when they say, okay, we're going to lift this part of the COVID restrictions in 14 days. Well, why not today?
Do you think it's like a little bit of like, not necessarily as like specific as like shame, but like to kind of like, do you think it's a matter of them, people, bigger government backpedaling and doing it in a way that, like, because obviously they don't give a shit about, like, in more ways than none over the last 2 years, doing the better for the people. So, like, if it was about that, it's like, you know, because even seeing, like, Doug Ford, like,
It's an election year.
seeing him, like, come back on stuff now, it's like, it's that, or it's like, do you think it's fucking flipping a switch in his head, just switched, and it's like, okay, I'm gaining a new perspective, but, like, I don't think that these people are dumb enough to, like, have that, or, like, to have tricked into the perspective. But
Have
it's
an
like
epiphany, like,
yeah,
I've
like,
changed my mind now.
But, like, that's what it seems like. I don't know really. Like, I don't pay attention enough.
Yeah, like,
maybe
not to get into conspiracies or anything like that, but I think probably political pressure is a big part to play. And I mean, we just had millions of people go to Ottawa for 3 weeks. There was a big demonstration, and it's created worldwide buzz. I'm sure that they'll never admit that.
That's what I mean. It's like a shame thing.
We're dropping restrictions, but not because of the conflict, right? Like, they can't ever admit that. But it had to have had some pressure, some political pressure. Yeah, it's an election year. Doug Ford must know that people don't really like him, so he's going to do, like, he just took away the stickers. That's
that was
for sure a political move. If anything, now the government needs as much tax money as they can.
Because it's funny, because it's like everyone over the last 2 years who hasn't got their sticker, who's going to get their sticker in 22 and has to pay the last 2 years that they didn't get it.
Yep.
It's like, that's probably a lot of people. Like,
Yep. So there's that. That's a political move, and like I said, the fact that Quebec is taking away masks in schools, and Alberta, and they're doing it way before Ontario, and the numbers don't support the reason behind that. Like, the cases don't support that. It just tells me that it's mostly political. I think the reason I don't think it's not Doug Ford saying, like, oh well, maybe they don't. You know.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's right. It's other motivations driving it, but
it's nice that the vaccine mandate seems to be coming off provincially. I hope that it's not to usher in a federal version of it. You know, they spent billions of dollars on the passport system.
Yeah.
My spidey sense tells me, like, maybe the provincial ones are coming out to usher in a
at this point, you'd be naive to think anything's not possible at the very least.
I believe anything I heard
exactly
right now.
Right. Like, you kind of have to be, just based on how things have gone and done. But
I'm hoping that's not the case, because so many poor people lost their jobs. Like, I saw a post that the Hamilton Police Force is bringing back all of the unvaccinated cops that have been on leave. That's great.
Yeah.
I hope that they do that in healthcare too, because, like, the hospitals are crazy overrun right now, not because of cases or because of this or that. It's because
lack of
staffing shortages.
My mom's, and not to get too much into what she does, but she's in the States in our hospital, and, you know, runs a floor, and it's her thing. Like, it's staffing, and, like, she's been a COVID only floor. She's been in the midst of it, like, hardcore, more than anyone ever has, and it's staffing. It's like, that's what's, like, coming down to it. And, like,
when 10 or 15% of the nurses, even 5% is crippling, but I think it was something like 10% in Ontario of the nurses didn't get vaccinated, and they got let go or put on leave or whatever.
It puts a direct burden on the system.
Thousands of nurses. You can't replace that. And when you do replace it, it's brand new nurses that don't know shit about shit.
Or overworked ones already that are, like,
retired, and they're getting called back in. Yeah. So I really hope that, I forget his name, but that the public health minister or whatever in Ontario was saying that he's advocating on removing vaccine mandates for healthcare workers.
Yeah.
So I really hope that the first people they call are the ones that got fired or laid off.
I don't know, when, like, on the March 1st, when it gets dropped, is that pertaining to those two? No. It's just, like, general
public. There never
public.
was a healthcare mandate. That was up to the hospital
to decide.
Yep. So I'm hoping that with the advice of this health minister saying that the hospitals will rethink their policies and call these guys back.
Yeah.
Because
hopefully, I mean,
you've heard the news, you've seen all the social media outcry. Like, these heroes were in the front lines for a year without a vaccine and doing just fine,
and already probably got it and over and done with.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then once the vaccine comes out, and for whatever reason they've chosen not to, whether that's right or wrong, I don't want to comment on that. but for whatever reason, they've chosen not to. And now they're going to get fired. Well, they've already been in the trenches for a year. They've for sure already got it. It'd be a miracle if they did.
I know firsthand having a handful of family members working in there. It's like, yeah, it is.
And then you kick them out, and now there's not enough nurses for beds, and they're all overworked, and it's detrimental. Like you've heard the politicians say, we can't survive. Well, Quebec actually said on record, we have no choice but to let COVID positive healthcare workers work.
I know.
Because they don't have the staff. So they chose that rather than bring back unvaccinated.
Yeah.
Like that's not a good approach.
No, not at all.
I would rather have an unvaccinated nurse tending to me than a COVID positive
for
nurse
sure.
Like,
definitely. Yeah. No, totally. But as soon as you start to like make sense of most decisions made, it's it's insane.
I don't understand the government really, but
so not to get it, what are you think you'll be working at home for an undetermined amount of time?
No, so I've been in the field like 2 or 3 days a week for months and months and months.
Oh, really?
Now.
Okay.
Nice.
I
mean, there was a short time that we were sort of primarily remote.
That's nice.
I don't think we were ever told that we needed to stay remote, but it was just sort of maybe recommended, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't stay remote for long. I've been in the field 2 or 3 days a week pretty consistently for a long time now. I don't enjoy working from home really.
Luckily me neither. This is my home away from home, and we don't really change too much. And again, not to beat a dead horse again, but the situation with us is we're lucky to be able to make decisions that are easier and facilitate more than we wouldn't be able to otherwise. But yeah, nice.
I'm really hoping that when this is over, that, those two tribes I was talking about at the beginning get along again.
Get back together, yeah.
Like I've never seen division like this before in my life, and it's sickening.
Yeah.
It's honestly like it's tearing families apart. It's tearing
without a doubt.
friendships apart because it's so polarizing. People that I'm like I said before, I'm pretty center on it. I understand both sides.
Just make your own choices.
Make your own decision. Yeah, I don't care if you're not vaccinated. I don't care if you are vaccinated. I don't care if the mask thing is one thing. I think there's very appropriate times, and I think there's other times that don't make sense. But the vaccine thing, I think it should be pro-choice, just like a lot of things. But I really hope that when this is behind us, these two tribes blend
back in together,
who their friends and their family were, and
hopefully, hopefully, I get it. Like, especially because I don't think I've lost. Maybe I don't know about it, but I don't know. I don't think I've lost too many like friends or like. Have you? Do you find you won't get some relationships back based on choice? Like I say that because being a reasonable person, if I have, again, that's on them. Like I would have said nothing, like if you get butthurt enough to not be
that's embarrassing.
Then that's on you, and you weren't a real friend or whatever in the beginning. So like, yeah, I guess hopefully people just do have enough. There's enough.
I don't think I've lost. I think I've lost anybody because I'm very respectful of everybody's opinion. I have my own thoughts about certain things. I choose to do certain things, but I don't care if you do or don't. And I really I'll talk about it like this, how I am with you. And I try to be empathetic to both sides, try to be understanding to both sides. And I don't really voice my thoughts and opinions to either side, like really assertively.
Yeah. But you're not going to be critical of me either. You're not going to or anyone else. Like you can voice it and have a discussion about it, but you're not going to tell me what's wrong with my decisions and shit like that. And it's like, as soon as that doesn't happen, then there's a dialogue can be had.
I think that's why I haven't lost anybody.
Yeah, same. That's why same. And same. And to be probably on the other side of it as you being vaccinated and this and that. It's like, I don't think I did either. I don't think either of us would have. And again, if we don't know about it, then that's on that person.
I don't ask anybody. It's none of my business.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to know. And when people ask me, I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
To me, it's to me, that question is as invasive as, are you circumcised?
Yeah.
Or what's your sexual orientation?
Yeah, or any of that shit. Like, how much money do you make a year? Like all that stuff that's implied. You just none of your business.
Why is it your business?
Yeah.
Right.
Or even what vaccines do you have? Like, do you have the flu vaccine? Like, no, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't even ever think to ask anybody because it doesn't affect me.
Nor do you probably genuinely care.
I don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't care if you're not vaccinated. I don't care if you've had 30 vaccines.
And that's why it kind of relaying back to mine here is like, I have never asked anyone here at the gym because I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm not going to go and do it for these underlying reasons thinking I should. Like at the bottom of the line, it's like, if I want to know, then that's one thing, but I don't care. So I don't care. Like, do you want my doctor's note for being able to come here? It's like, no, I genuinely don't care. If like that's the card we're gonna have to play when the time comes, It's like, let's gather together and see if we can do this and everyone get their fucking doctor's notes out. But no, like don't send me it because I don't care. I could care less if you have whatever your standpoint is. So
I wish everybody had that outlook, man, because I mean, people that choose one way are getting torn apart.
Yeah.
And people that choose another way are getting torn apart by the other group. And there's just an unbelievable amount of hate and division out there. I wish people were more like us on the fact that we're kind of in the middle. Mm-hmm. And we may have thoughts one way or the other.
Everyone's
but we don't
entitled
talk about
to that.
it. Yeah, we don't talk about it. Maybe we talk about it with our spouses. That's it, basically. But I don't give a shit. What you do, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Yeah, totally.
That's
Yeah.
You do you, as long as you're not making someone else's life shittier because of what you're doing, then continue doing you.
Yeah. So, okay, to switch it from a completely different thing, is like, how's being a father?
Oh, dude.
Like, because to give a little context to that, it's like, probably me too, I don't know, but like, we knew each other from complete 360s from where we're both at now. Like as far as
if you did 360.
Yeah, I guess you'd be back in the same. We'd both be working at the bar again. You're right. 180s from where we both were, and like then to now sit down. Like obviously Tatum's 2.5, and like I know what that is like for me. But like, what's it like for you?
Yeah, well, everything sure became a lot scarier overnight.
In terms of
the world is scary.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll elaborate a little bit. Like, beforehand, not that I'm a tough guy or anything like that, but I wasn't not scared of anything.
Defense. Yeah, I get that.
Like nothing scares me, you beat me up. Okay. Whatever. I worked at the bar for the better part of a decade. You were there for a few years, getting punched in the face or beat up, whatever, getting in a car accident. Yeah. Okay. Losing your job. Yeah. It's a little bit scary, but now the world's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying because I have this tiny little dude that, I will bulldoze anybody.
But that's like, it's terrifying in a way that's amazing at the same time. I feel like.
So my first thing was, the world just became really scary.
Yeah.
But also, like, I've never felt such a sense of purpose. And I'm going to give you a whole bunch of cliches that I used to laugh at, but I know you'll get it because you're a dad too. Every parent says to you, you won't get it until you have one. You'll never know love until you have one. You're like, oh yeah, okay, sure. But it's so true.
And this is like, because if we would have laughed at people saying that to us back then. It's like, and why I asked that question is because like there's no doubt that it's automatic that you feel that once, like you won't feel it until it's here. Like you don't know it until you know it. But like
I love my wife a ton. But I would throw her in front of a dump truck to save him.
anything in the world. Like
she would do the same to me.
I would expect her to. Totally.
Too. It's just a different kind of love, and I know it sounds cliche, but only parents get it.
Yeah.
And I used to roll my eyes. Oh yeah, only parents get it, but it's true, man.
It's like the one thing that I find is like I've had like I'm a pretty motivated guy in general. I get lazy sometimes, but like having that is like a cheat code to unlimited motivation. For me, like this desire to just like it doesn't change. Like I'm not, getting up at 4 a.m. now versus Jocko this. And like it's not that kind of motivation. It's just like this back of your head, like life motivation to like do better, want more, expect more of yourself because that always just translates into what the better for Tatum. I think at the end of the day.
Ironically, Joe Rogan said a quote that I think is perfect for this. He said something like, be the star of your own movie. So basically, if you had, I forget, I'm going to butcher it, but if you had a movie or a book and you were the main character of that movie or book, would your kid watch that in the future and be like, fuck, that was my dad?
Yeah, totally.
That was my dad. That guy's a hero. Or would he be like, ugh, that was my dad?
Yeah.
The first one. That's all I think about every day is like, I want to be a better guy. And that's
like that unlimited motivation is kind of like, it's like the shit that you would be like, you know, the mundane chore-y stuff, all, you know, stuff that's like, I'm not going to do that now. Like the stuff that you know in the back of your head you're not doing, or like the right thing to do is, you know, simple as like go switch your laundry over, go, you know, shovel this small day-to-day like things that before Tatum, it's like I'm okay with myself knowing I pushed these mundane chores back. And I know it seems so simple, but like all those things instantly were like no brainers, do now, like better, like I don't know. That was one thing with me is like I noticed that those things that I was like wishy-washy about wanting to do or anything before were like no brainers, dude. Like, and that kind of just comes back to like ultimately probably wanting to be a better person for like your kid or kids.
Yeah, true. Even things like work. So my job's pretty demanding. It's you know a pretty reasonably demanding amount of hours. And I've found myself with purpose stopping at a certain time in the day so that I can eat dinner with
100%, 100%.
Which is, we always used to eat separately, but now we make a point to sit at the dinner table together and eat together.
Totally.
And I interact with them on the floor. I put them to bed. I'll work out. And then I'll go back and work for a couple hours when they're asleep.
Totally. I mean, this is what here. This is why, like, hey, Doug, what time you want to get together after the kid they go down, right? It's like that's the epitome of it. And it, you know, Jade would hear that, like, we're not perfect. Like some days you get caught up in it, like,
yeah, sure,
busy and shit. But you always drag back to like if there's a day or two, like today, not today, for instance, but luckily with me and probably you in this situation where like I'm super, super, super lucky. Like I see Tatum whenever I want. Like I'm not working 9 to 5, rushing home to get home at 5:30 before she goes to bed at 7 to spend an hour. Like I'm very lucky to have that flexibility in that. And I always like remind myself, and I probably projected onto Jade too much. It's like, how grateful we should be to like have that. Like when I was growing up, my mom worked midnights in the States. So she would get home as we were already at school, you know, and then but she would get up. She would only sleep as if we were home from school at 3, she would be home. She would be up at 3:30, slept for, you know, for years and years and years and years. She was sleep deprived just to see us before she went back to work at 7:00. And even with those demanding hours and like that schedule, there's still always that, like, I never didn't see her. So for me to like, I expect even more out of myself knowing that I have the flexibility and like knowing me and Jade have that flexibility to like be there more than we can, or as much as we can be, because like if stuff I guess the luxuries you have of like being able to do that sometimes.
Yeah, like even, you know, sometimes we're all guilty of not being our best self with our spouse. Like we'll take our day out on our spouse.
Totally.
We'll raise our voice. We get frustrated. I've really tried to be mindful of that in front of Jackson.
100%.
I want to see him. And like you said, we're not perfect. There's times
you catch yourself and it's like, fuck. But even then, that second time, it's like, or third time, or fourth time, or fifth time, it's like, it's stronger feeling not to let it happen again.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really trying to be conscious of how I want my son to see his mom and dad interact with each other. And things like schooling, we're going to send him to a private school because I just want him to have the best.
I know,
possible,
totally.
Right. And yeah, man, like I'm for sure a changed guy. Like both of us a long way from being bouncers at the front door of clubs in London and getting in fights every 3 days a week, and to being people that think about, you know,
other shit,
how we're going to interact with our wives in front of our child, and to make sure that we have family dinner, and to make sure of
just becoming that, like, that's why I like to say like that unlimited motivation. And then to add that, just that to be a better person. Like it's, I'm mind boggled with people that don't get that when they have a family or more specifically kids.
I think you and I, like, we were shitheads back in the day too,
Yeah.
right? Like, we didn't have our shit together at all.
No, God, no.
And pretty immature at the door. Like, if you think of some of the things we would say.
Oh,
joke
yeah,
around,
for
like,
sure. And that's just evolution. Yeah, like, right, you definitely.
Yeah. That was a fun time, though, man.
Yeah.
Thinking about the bar. Like, how long were you there?
I don't know, 2 years maybe, yeah.
I remember one time there was a big fight that happened and the owners came down.
Yeah.
Cobra. And I remember he said, he looked at you because you didn't have your license.
Yeah.
So you were not supposed to get involved and you had a white shirt with no number on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember the owner looked at you and like your arms looked like dick skin, right? Like just veins. You were the biggest guy there. And he looked at you and he looked at me and said, why the fuck is this guy out front, not inside, beating people up? And I'm like, man, he's not like what do you
God,
want me to
no.
do?
I'm like, yeah, no, not at all. I know. And that's
You
like,
had the most patience though, man, out of anybody. I remember.
I think I was coming back to that conference. Like, like, anytime I think of even fights, even now, like, I don't think anything's changed in my train of thought. It's like, I'm just terrified of hitting someone and them cracking their head off the skull. Or, off
we
the
saw
side.
that happen.
I know. And it's like, I remember that so vividly. Like, even now, I'm so paranoid. Like, that's the first thing is like, what could go wrong here? And like,
So that's been the biggest part of my evolution is an understanding of consequence.
yeah.
Because growing up, for whatever reason, I didn't think about consequence. And that really showed at the bar. Like, I was always the first in, and I was always.
And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to face those consequences. But like, maybe that's where like me and you, as far as like being where we work, there's I'm too much consequence, like afraid. It's like you can let, like, not necessarily pertaining to fighting,
Sure.
but like injured and doing risk taking. It's like you can take more risk because 19 times in 10 it's not going to happen. Whereas like, people don't ever think about the risks and like, I don't know.
But I'm glad I've got a better understanding of consequence now because like there was a lot of things that happened at the bar that shouldn't have.
Yeah. It just skated by and like, things could have gone drastically.
I remember the one time you spazzed.
I think I remember it like too. Like,
you're gonna laugh as soon as I say Luigi.
Yeah. Remember that?
So Halloween night. The guy Luigi, he there was like 7 or 8 fights that night.
Yeah, that was big. That was out
and
front.
This kid just wouldn't stop. He kept coming. And you're like, man, I'm gonna lose it. And me and Andre were like,
he's gonna lose it.
He's getting mad finally. And we were like poking you, trying to make it worse. Like, what's the matter, Ian? And finally you snapped and you picked this kid up and you must have thrown him 15 feet, like off the ground.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember exactly where it was and like.
Yep. That kid's face removed a mirror from a car too that night.
Yeah, perfect. I wasn't me at least. No, I don't think
it was not you.
That's funny. I remember. Speaking of which, like small worlds, we were just talking about that. Is Jacob? Remember Jacob was working there, right?
Beaton?
Like
Jacob Beaton?
No, Fowler. He was good friends with Eddie. Do you know OEV?
Oh, he was a busboy.
Yeah. So he was on here because he's like he owns a gym.
He got jacked.
He owns a gym now. He's in good shape.
Pretty bigger than he was then.
Yeah. He owns a gym, so he was on as like a fellow gym owner. But we were like halfway through the conversation, we're like,
good for him.
You remember when we like worked at Covert together and Eddie and like him and Eddie were like
a sick dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a bank manager now at TD.
Really?
Doing well for himself.
Which TD?
Somewhere else. Oh
yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's funny, like it's funny you say that. So Jacob's a business owner, you're a business owner. I'm doing okay. Eddie's doing okay. Mm-hmm. Andre's doing okay. Rob's doing okay. Well, yeah, Rob's doing okay. Do you remember Matt McLennan?
Yeah, of course.
He came and worked for
Silver Lining. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
He's doing good. A lot of the guys that worked at Cobra, at least that were in our type, Will owns a business now.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that were in like the inside circle there are doing really well.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then there's people at like Seeps and Barney's. I worked there. Most of them are
still working there.
Snipers. Nothing against that, but
no, I mean whatever you.
I had to get out of it. Yeah. Andre and I actually remember Cameron.
Of course.
His little brother. For some reason I can't remember his name, but he worked there too. Cameron's little brother.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
I see Whit here.
Oh, do you?
Here and there, like because
So this guy he was managing a bar in Kitchener or something like that, and it was opening night. He didn't have any door staff, so he called me. He's like, hey, can you come down and do me a favor? I said, yeah, if I can bring Andre. So me and Andre drove up to Kitchener. We worked security at the front door. And like, it was horrible.
Really? Like compared to like work environments, horrible?
Because I had been out of it for almost a year and then went back to it. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I got out of it at the right time.
Yeah.
I can't tolerate this anymore. I'm past this. I never want to do this again. He asked us to come back. I'm like, no way.
I think I remember that, like that episode of that happening. And then I don't know, me and you talk enough. You might have told me that already, but yeah.
But it was like, I could never go back to doing bar security again. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm definitely, obviously me neither, but
I just don't have the patience.
I didn't that's probably what a lot of it was then with me is like, I didn't have the patience or anything. And I probably didn't want to be there, but it made it nice, like being in that group with you guys and like having
the money we made.
Yeah. And
crazy.
like, and having, being lucky to be in a work environment that was like, the best of the world as far as like that's bar
yeah,
world.
we made the best of it.
Yeah. And then I was young, so I was like, I should be here doing this kind of work. But that's probably a lot of it then was like, I don't have even then I'm like, it was probably less of like, I don't have the patience to deal with you guys fighting, just fucking fight. And then, versus like being like, get in there. Yeah. Or Doug will be in there. Like the rest of them guys will be in there.
Well, the money was good too, though.
Yeah,
man.
that was
like,
hard to.
We weren't just $10 an hour bouncers. We were, sorry, Cameron, if you see this, but we were taking money at the door a lot. Robbie and I were talking about this the other day. Like, so for people who don't know, I'm gonna spill the beans. Bouncers take money.
You can pay to your way in.
Yeah, you can skip the line if you give them $20. Don't be an idiot about it and hand it like fold it under your ID and be like, hey, can you?
Yeah.
There's $40 under here. Get me and my girlfriend in,
Yeah.
or me and my buddy in. They'll let you in. Spend the money. It's better than staying in the cold
Every time.
But we'd make like $1,500 some nights
yeah.
and split it between the 3 or 4 of us, the inner circle, right? Sorry, guys that weren't in the circle. I know you're not happy about that, but sorry. But Robbie reminded me that Robbie and I would walk to the back of the line and pretend to be talking to each other, but real loud. We'd be like, hey, did you hear that you can pay the bouncers here to get it? Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. How much is it? I hear it's $20 a head. Like,
oh, yeah.
And then people would be like, hey, really? You can do that? And we'd be like, yeah.
And then those are those ones. And then you get the people that just walk in with a couple hundreds and give them to you that know the drill.
Yeah,
know that you can just do that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yep.
that's funny.
Yeah, man, that was a really fun time in my life, but certainly a chapter I'm happy that's in the past because it was very violent, stressful.
I think everyone pretty much got out unharmed or
Thank
long term,
Yeah.
legal anything.
Andre
like that.
got bottled, but
I remember.
the bottle didn't break, and then that guy's mouth looked like he swallowed dynamite after because Andre paid him back for that.
Oh man, some of the stories there. Yeah. Do you go out much? Like, do you go out to
I can't enjoy it.
Yeah, me neither.
When I go out, I can't not work.
Did you then though? Did you like?
Nope.
You guys wouldn't. You're not a bar hopper like.
No, like some of those other guys will,
Even
but-
drinking, like you're not.
I don't drink often,
Yeah,
no.
same.
But when I did go out to the bar the odd time, I would just be looking.
Yeah.
I couldn't turn it off.
Yeah,
'Cause
which
I'd
is
done it for so
ultimately
long,
probably good. I mean, that's how you probably stay out of trouble.
I guess. Hey,
Maybe.
speaking of drinking, you said you had some of that
Peanut butter.
flavored whiskey.
You want to do a shot of it before we
Not
finish?
a shot. I might sip a little. I just want to taste it. Maybe. Where's it at?
It's over here. I'll bring it over here. It's good. It's one of those ones that you want like a glass.
Just a little bit. I just want to taste it. I'm curious what peanut butter and whiskey mixed together tastes like.
Do you like whiskey?
Yep. Yeah, like if I'm gonna drink liquor, it'll be whiskey.
Do you like old fashions? Like I've been on an old fashioned kick. So basically, like
Old fashioned, yeah. Yep.
and like so have you ever met? Do you know old fashioned? Not to like maybe you do. Like so basically,
Yes.
I think it's just whiskey, and then like there's sometimes a syrup or like you
Yep.
get like a sugar kind of,
And then there's that
bitters.
bitters, yeah.
So I have actually. So I've ordered actually a couple different of like the actual syrups because what I was doing at first is like getting the sugar syrup or like then and I can't find the sugar syrup anywhere. So I was just like cooking down the sugar and then putting it in. And then I was experimenting, like you can do with brown sugar too. And, you know, kind of making, it's really easy, but I like whiskey too. And I don't like just, I'm not going to fool myself. I don't like just like sipping on it like tough guys do.
Yeah.
But, you know, I love old fashions. You can still get like, you know, it's still just whiskey. And I've bought a couple of the different like syrups. So they're like kind of like artesian-esque syrups that you kind of are pre-made for old fashions. But
so usually I'll drink twice, like hard twice a year. That's good. Yeah. Thanks.
do you want less than that? I can pour less.
Yeah. Less. Yeah, that's good. Thanks. I'll usually drink hard twice a year. And they're at my cheers at my company events. Oh, that's interesting. That's good. It's interesting. Yeah.
I found that like I've done one or two, like it's probably good if you sip on it.
With some ice, it'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you do, like I've done a shot and then you get a nice, good peanut butter. And then like, you know, the second and third shot, it's like, it's a little more, it's like.
That's actually, the aftertaste is good. I like that quite a bit. I might pick up a bottle.
Yeah.
So yeah, twice a year I'll go hard, and it's at my company events. So we have an annual conference where all the management team goes to a destination. Be good for time.
No, I didn't mean to, for reference, I'm always paranoid that I'll stop. So I just look for the red mark that it's still recording up there and then the red there. Cause
gotcha.
I should have told you that before because I know it's distracting when I sometimes check if it's still going, but time I don't care.
No worries.
Good.
So yeah, all the management in the entire company, so like 400 people or so at this point, get together for an annual conference, and there's like motivational speakers and some training and hype, and it's honestly the best experience I've ever had. It's tremendously motivating, and you get to meet people from BC and everywhere, right? Quebec, Newfoundland. So we'll have a gala night there where you get dressed up in a 3-piece suit, and the girls get dressed up in their dresses, and
it's like open bar.
Yeah, but there's like a really nice 3-course, super posh dinner and awards ceremony. And, you know, there's wine at the table, there's open bar beforehand, and then it's a party afterwards, dancing and drinks. So that night I'll go hard because it's so fun. You get to dance with people, you get to see people from the other side of the country that you normally only email or talk on the phone with.
Yeah.
So I'll go hard that night, and then there's a president's trip where we award the sort of the top performers in the company, and there's a number of folks that go, and that's a 7-night, fantastic. Bring your spouse
trip, some like warm, like
Mexico, Jamaica, stuff like that. Yep. So the last one we went to was in Jamaica right before the pandemic hit. It was like end of February, early March. Yeah. And that's the other time that I'll go hard because you're, again, around like work colleagues that you never see.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's better than breaking bread and having some drinks late at night?
Break down some barriers, like get to know someone the way you wouldn't.
Yeah. And it's good for business, too, because you create relationships with people otherwise you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And those become resources at work and mentors and, you know, for succession planning and things like that, because you'll meet people that are higher than you in the organization, people that are newer to you in the organization. And, so those are the 2 times that I'll really drink, and, you know, I'll have a beer here and there if buddies come over or.
So you won't pour like a little glass of whiskey at home or something like that?
We don't have alcohol at home, really.
Because I find that like, I don't either. I couldn't tell you the last time I got drunk, but like, or, you know, like was hungover, say.
Sure.
But I like my like old fashioned couple times a week at home. You know, I think it's just more of a de-stressor. I think, you know, busy people kind of, I think it's more of a de-stressor, not just talking out loud, but I don't know. It's always a question.
In the summertime, I'll get ciders.
Yeah.
So like if I'm working out back on the deck or building something, I'll.
Refreshing. It's not like you're just drinking for the afternoon or anything.
But there has been some times where like accidentally I'm 8 or 9 ciders deep.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, should I be operating this table saw right now?
Seriously.
I don't know. But old fashions, reminded me of the conference and the president's trip, because there's a couple guys that are always on those trips, colleagues of mine, they're always drinking old fashions.
I love them now.
And they, you know, they got me into it too. So I'll always have one sort of ceremonial
next time
with them.
Next time I'll make sure I can accommodate that, because I like it. It's easy and you can just sip on it and it's enjoyable. It's not like, again, I'm not, maybe at a different stage in my life, I'll enjoy sipping on, 60 proof whiskey, but I'm good for now, right?
I wanted to ask you about, like I believe you still sell some CBD products. Yeah. So occasionally I struggle with sleep and I'll rely on sleeping pills. And I've never given you some? Yeah, but it didn't really work the way I had hoped. So I wanted to ask your opinion because you'd know better than me. I don't want to get high. I don't like the feeling of being high.
Yeah.
Last time I did anything like that was high school. I haven't touched it since. It just doesn't interest me.
Do you know what color the one I gave you was?
You gave me a white one and a black one.
And one of each, and you found both of them didn't help with sleep?
Maybe it was just there's enough for two.
Oh, so you just got a small one?
Yeah,
okay, before we leave here, I'll give you one of each of the big ones.
Okay.
And you can I'll show you and you can see, because honestly, I don't try and I'm not going to tell you you're going to sleep like a baby or anything like that, but the amount of positive feedback, especially with sleeping, it's been like far outnumbers I think probably because it's the most measurable. Like someone who avidly doesn't get sleep, if they get a good night's sleep, it's like, and especially if they've done something to promote it,
sure.
It's I'll give you the full size ones of each one again, and then that way you can do like a full. Neither of them you could drink the whole thing. You're not going to get any kind of highness or anything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is it because it's only CBD and there's no THC that it wasn't anecdotally it wasn't working for me? I think it's probably because I didn't give it enough time.
Possibly, or you didn't do enough. Like it didn't get a high enough dose.
I see.
It's hard to say. There's so many. Again, with that, you can just work. You can get it if you don't. There's probably if you tell me how much you're doing each night, and if you're like, Ian, I legit drank half the bottle and nothing, I'd be like, it might not help your sleeping. You might, but I have never had that happen yet. Where maybe then people just don't tell me because they don't want they don't want their
hurt your feelings.
Maybe I don't know, whatever. But a lot of the people aren't friends; they're more customers than
So they tell you.
Yeah, they tell me for sure. So
yeah, I mean, I know this is going to sound hypocritical as I'm sipping whiskey, but I generally try not to put chemicals in my body. So the sleeping pills, it really bothers me that I need to rely on them because there's no way that's healthy. There's no way.
Yeah.
And plus, I feel crappy in the morning.
You're not solving a problem. You're kind of just putting a band-aid on it. Not that the CBD is necessarily that. It's 100%. You could do that for the rest of your life and not have to worry about your liver shutting down or whatever from not that it gets to that point, but becoming into that whole pill world.
Yes, there's no way sleeping pills are good for you.
I'll give you this one of each of the two, because if you had the sample one, it would have been the 1,000 milligram one. I'll give you the full spectrum and the isolate of the 2,000. So you could do two, tonight or tomorrow night, do 2 full droppers of one, see how it is. Next night do 2 full droppers of the other.
If that still doesn't work, what would your next suggestion be?
As far as, you probably don't want to hear it, but an edible, dabbing into the THC.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to the THC. I just don't want to get baked.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, everybody messed around in high school, peer pressure, whatever. It made me feel sick to my stomach.
Yeah, you could do so when I say that, I'd say take a little bit of this chocolate bar right before bed, or an edible, and start super, super low. Take it before bed so that you're sleeping. You're still not going to take enough where chances are, if you were in the middle of the day, if you don't smoke or take edibles you might be a little bit more but I would say take a tiny, tiny, tiny bit before you hit the pillow so that you're not going to feel it necessarily. It's not you're going about your day to day.
It's falling asleep that's my problem though.
Yeah, or then whatever, 15 minutes before bed, but I'd say that before. I mean, it's either something like
vape.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. So you could do an edible or a vape, but you're still gonna want to only teeter. Even with a vape, you're gonna be battling the limitation of your highness versus and then not only that, but to be honest, it's you could fall asleep, but you don't want to take too much that you feel groggy in the morning either.
It will do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
a THC edible will.
What about a vape?
It's THC. So it's still the same thing. It's just a different delivery system.
I thought that the whole benefit of weed was that it it doesn't make you like when you drink. Yeah, a glass of wine or a beer will help me sleep.
I think that if you take a vape or something like that, yeah, you're right. You're not going to wake. But if you take an edible, you probably will feel it in the morning. So yeah, like get a low like vape, or get a vape that's a THC. Like if you sat on it and smoked it, you'd get high. But if you took like 1 or 2 puffs right before bed, you're right. That might be a more intermediate way to go than even just going right to an edible, because edibles are tough. Like with me, I'm terrified of them. Like I know like my limits, like I smoke weed every day of my life for the last 15 years of my life.
Yeah.
So I'm not, but I'm like, if I take more than like 50 milligrams and then like whatever, probably around there, I don't do it, because I'm like one of those guys that are afraid of consequences. I don't want to be too hot, like, where some people just like, fuck it, we'll see what it's like. Yeah. I'm terrified of stuff in general.
I used to get paranoid too. Like I remember in high school, like I did it a few times in high school, and I remember specifically one of the times we're sitting in a basement with my girlfriend at the time. We're in a basement of her house, and we smoked it outside, and we're in the basement laughing. I'm like, everybody, the cops they're gonna know we're here. Like it's so ridiculous.
But you could get like a vape and just do like 1 or 2 before bed, and like that would be, if the CBD doesn't improve it, I'd say that'd be your next one. Again, versus going to like your alternate is fucking a pill.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's
the chemicals in those pills are horrible.
I don't know. Like if you take that is there a high effect to that? Like if you take it during the day or at the wrong time, are you like worried about like being cognitive function?
Yeah, for sure.
But in a different way than what THC would be probably.
Like if I take an extra strength, usually I'll break the extra strength ones in half. So I'll take a regular strength, but it's just cheaper if you buy the box of extra strength and break them in half. Mm-hmm. 30, 45 minutes later, you're just kind of like,
okay. So it's like not necessarily but that's like
I wouldn't drive on it. I wouldn't go to work on a sleeping pill. Like it affects your cognitive function for sure.
Yeah. I would say as an experienced, like not as a CBD business owner, as an experienced marijuana user, I'd say go to try and see if you can just take a maximum dose of a CBD. I'm inclined to say that'll definitely improve it. Yeah. And then if not, just go to you're right, the most measurable or the most
smallest amount of THC.
Smallest delivery system you could do, and like that, like even I was gonna say like you could smoke half a joint, but that's like you want something that's like,
I don't want the smoke.
Yeah, exactly. That's like it's
like Julie is a nurse, right? So
you don't want to like
don't smoke.
Yeah, for sure. Like you could get a vape, hit it twice, like literally before you're about to go to bed, and see if you fall asleep a little bit quicker. Like,
are there any negative effects that could happen?
I don't want to say no,
but that you've heard of,
but no.
Like happening regularly, like any sort of liver, kidney, lung,
nothing compared
problems,
to like
a sleeping pill.
A sleeping pill,
right? Yeah.
Let alone like even then, I'm trying to be super objective because I'm a lifetime user.
You've had no problem.
No, never. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Compared to the other vices, or not even vices, like compared to the fucking air quality. Yeah, drinking Diet Pepsis all day long. Like, no.
But I hate to use that as a compare. Like, I hate people that do that. It's not as bad as kind of people.
Exactly, because you don't want to at the end of the day, no. No, I mean, it's time and place. If you're having a little bit to go to bed, no. If you're smoking all day every day, yeah. But I can have a day where I smoke all day every day, and it's not going to affect my productivity or my performance as a dad or a human or a business owner. But to some, they might. It's kind of like you got to be real with yourself too.
Another thing I'm worried about too is when I do take a sleeping pill, let's say my boy's crying and I got to get up an hour later. I'm still super groggy from that pill. I don't like the feeling I have of not being 100%
totally
present. I'm not high or anything, but you're just so tired from the sleeping pill.
Yeah, totally.
And you're not dizzy, but you're not yourself.
Or you might not even hear it. You might sleep through it or something like that. That's what I'm worried
about, right? So I don't want to have to take a sleeping pill to go to sleep and then have to wake up to go be with him and not be there.
Yeah. No, I don't think that
I wouldn't have that effect.
No. If anything, you're up and you're you don't have that I'm up, I'm here, I'm awake, I'm cognitive, I can do it, I'm confident in my abilities. If that's the thing, you have a rough night and it's 3 a.m, you can't go back. It's like you go take another 2 hits or something like that. That's worst case. Like,
yeah, well, I've only researched this stuff a little bit because I've been hesitant, but I think like I'll look into it more. But
it's the easiest way because, like I said, you could chug both of those right now, and you could drive home like clear. Like, although if it does help you with sleeping, you might get a little tired.
Yeah,
and it's like, I mean, don't go drink a bottle and drive home if you don't know how it's going to affect you.
Sure,
like that's just common sense.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Anything else?
Which one of these knives are you going to get?
I think I'm going to get this one kind of in a spec that I like.
Good luck.
Really?
You're going to have to look around.
I'll wait.
Yeah, you're just going to have to just check DLT trading and knife ship free every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Or maybe every week or whatever. Or some places they'll have like a let me know when it's back in stock.
Yeah,
button.
I've seen that. So I'm no, you're not a watch guy though, huh?
I started but that's expensive.
It can be,
You can really go down a rabbit hole quick with that, right? Like,
but it's also the point where it's like if you don't have them, it's either you're gonna go down and you're gonna be broke, or like you stay within your means.
Sure, but like knives, gym equipment, guns,
you
can get a lot of it for 20, 30 grand. Watches, that's one watch.
It could be,
cases, right?
Yeah,
and I've got, I think probably my best watch is.
I don't even like you saying this already. Your best? Are you referring to your most valuable?
Just the most expensive.
Yeah, because my best is my cheapest.
Your best as far as your sentimental.
Yeah.
My most valuable is I can't even remember the name of it. The one where there's nothing on the dial except the diamond at the top.
It's like M.
Yeah.
What he just
Movado.
Yeah.
So that's my best watch, and that's like an $800 watch or something. And actually, that was a gift from my region when I was a regional manager in the London area. The managers they all chipped in and bought me that as a wedding present.
Cool. Yeah.
So that has quite a lot of sentimental value as well. Probably the most sentimental value as well as the most expensive watch.
Yeah.
But to me, like $800, that's enough for a watch. But to you, that's a piece of shit.
No, but it's not it's all relative. Like it's not a piece of one being in the watch realm in the last couple of years. It's like anyone who's ever said like, what about this? What about this? What about this? It's like none of that matters. You like to watch? Does it? Or does it have a meaning to you? Then like that's all that matters. And like even these guys with $1 million watch collection, like they'll tell you that like they'll have a $100,000 Rolex sitting next to a G-Shock that they like
that their dad gave
or whatever. Yeah. Or not even a G-Shock, a fucking, something like whatever, a cheap or what, price aside, that they value more than like the next one. So when you say, it's not like the more and more I get into it, the more and more I have a nice one and it means a lot to me because of the milestone, because of what the purpose, like I bought it on my Rolex. 30th birthday. I walked in and I was like,
that's the Rolex.
Yeah. And that was like, I waited all year and I was like, at the end of this year, I want to be in a position to buy my first one by myself, like, do it like this. And
a brand new Rolex.
I got super lucky. I walked in and I had, I was like, I'm going to go in.
The Marine Star?
It's a date just.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a relatively entry level Rolex but it's, it means a lot to me because I was like, I'm going to go in there. I don't want to go down the Rolex rabbit hole, but you can't buy Rolexes from the authorized dealers anymore. Like 5-year waits. Like if you go in there now, there's nothing on display. Like they're all, it's because the supply, like without going down the Rolex rabbit hole, there's in such high demand now that
too many rich people.
You go, kind of. You go out, like I walked out the door and it was worth more than when I bought it, and no other watch is like that. Sure. But it's because that demand is there. So long story short, I was like, I know there's not going to be nothing on the shelf. It's my birthday on the day. I was like, if there's a time where things could fall in line and like you never really know. And I walked in and that one was there and I had no intention of like really having
the
option.
one you wanted to?
It was like, it's
In
kind
the
of
list of the ones you wanted
it's really the only one that like
is affordable.
yeah, and even affordable is relative. Like
Yeah.
it's a $12,000 watch. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, and that's but I had a goal for that
saved-
to be
yeah, you
my
saved
goal.
for it,
Like
yeah.
and I still was like, there's no way this is gonna happen. I walked in and I was like, holy shit, like this is here. Like I wasn't even ready to pull the trigger, but like you remind yourself and like why
You
you're
worked for it,
there.
you saved for
And,
it,
and
yeah.
and at the end of the day, I walk out and if I need to liquidate this, then I actually made money on it. So not to get in the whole like investment side of it, but it was like it
Did you
is.
sell
like
it? Did you sell it?
I didn't. No, I would be like, if I'm like, if I have, cash sitting in a safe, not to get, if I have cash sitting in a safe,
Appreciates,
it's
the watch
it's
is
just it's the same amount of money, whether I, whenever I take it out. And again, I was in a position where I could park that money somewhere else.
I didn't realize that it would be an appreciable asset like
This
that.
is not it, but it's very specific to Rolex. Like you can't like
It's almost like a Dodge Ram nowadays.
why are they all though,
Oh,
dude.
It's like you can drive it for 100,000 kilometers, the same price.
I
almost.
drove mine for 50,000. I made 20 grand on it last one. My Ford. So I upgraded my truck and my payment went down.
That's crazy.
because of demand for it. So it's kind of like that, yeah, but it's like
Supply and demand. Yeah.
yeah. So with the Rolexes, it's like you can't. There's 5-year waits. Like I actually emailed the lady at Rolex and I was like, hey, like I getting my feet wet here. Like there's one actually underneath the one that I had. I was like, I might be being a little overzealous, but if I want to get my name on it, and she goes, yeah, sure. Like those are like because they're the entry level ones. Like maybe 5 years, you can get one. We'll give you we'll put you on the list, but if you go but they want you to go spend money on their other jewelry, and then you kind of like get up and and that's kind of the luxury watch game in general. Some of these people won't even look at you until you spent $500K in their store to like get you the there's watches that are $100,000,
yeah,
but you walk out the door and it's $300,000.
That's crazy.
So it's like those people, they're not going to get you that allocation unless you deserve that allocation. And they know you're not just going to go flip it for, a big profit.
Have you seen Conor McGregor's new watch?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. They're all like, it's insane. Trust me, being in that world's like
multi-million-dollar watch or something.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, but getting back to that watch is it's whatever you think it is. Like,
Well, this watch also, there's a bit of a story. So my bachelor party, we had it in Vegas, and Will came.
yeah.
And he had the Movado. It's all gold. And I've never liked gold watches, but for some reason, this one spoke to me. Like
Yeah.
it's got the chain link
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
band. And I'm like, man, that watch looks cool, man. How much was it? He told me. And that's the watch that they got me.
Yeah.
So,
Because you stuck, it resonated with you. Like,
yeah. So it's super sentimental. It's my most expensive watch that I have, relatively speaking. $800 is, it's nothing compared to 12,000, but
not 12,000 compared to like it
to 200,000. Yeah.
And it's like, again, I cringe when people say like compare. It's like none of that. You'll go to these people with as much money as they can ever buy anyone and they want. And they go with what they like. They'll tell you as someone that doesn't have the means they have, buy what you want, buy what you like, or buy wear what has a story to it. And like,
Actually, there's another one that's got sentimental value. It's, I don't even remember the brand. I bought it online. It was like $300.
yeah.
But I bought 6 of them all at once because these were the gifts I gave my groomsmen.
Yeah.
So Regan, Jacob, Andre, Robbie, and Justin.
Yeah.
I got all of us the same watch, and it's got a custom piece of marble on the back of it, so they're all a little bit different.
Yeah.
Inlaid marble on the back, and I got everybody's on the side of the dial, like right here.
Yeah.
I got their name and the year we became friends engraved. in
Oh,
it.
cool. Yeah.
So those are pretty sentimental
totally.
too.
You'll see. Like, I'll show you my like kind of main ones, and like everyone has like, and then the ones that have value and like for me being interested in the watch is like I have a box of watches that are gonna like in 10 years from now, those watches kind of like flipping them or trading up and adding some cash here to there and like not being necessarily attached to them. That's going to be how I'm like in X amount of time when I have 10 or 50 watches 25 watches that are worth $2,500 each. You know, you get rid of all them when you're ready to pull the trigger, and you can buy a, you know,
$100,000
or $50,000 watch. And it's like, you know, some people see that like, you have 50 grand to just go blow on a watch. It's like,
it took years.
No, it took years. This is like this is my slow investments. And like, you know, and no, it's not like that. Right. So it's like, I get that too, even now a little bit, like all these new watches and stuff like that. It's like, people don't even know like this. I actually like, I'm up on this watch. Like I'm not
good. What is that one?
This is a Tudor. So Tudor's like Rolex's sister company, like kind of like little brother type of thing. So
like a more entry.
I guess technically, but it's all like the same. Like I had a Tudor that I got refinished and everything like that, and sent it off for servicing, and it goes to a Rolex servicing center. So it's like, you know, whatever.
Do you have a tag?
I have one. The first watch I bought with my own money was a tag, and that's one of my watches in there, and I like it. And it was, you know, it was like $1,500, and that was my like first watch to myself, and
first good watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get you into guns, man.
I know. Fuck. I would love. Trust me, that's a deep rabbit hole that I'm 100% wanting to go down.
I just bought Jackson a gun. I know he's only 8 months old, but I bought him. I wanted to buy it on his birthday.
Yeah.
Like leave the hospital, get Julia home. I'll be back in a minute, babe. Go to the store. But they didn't have it. It's just a little Henry 22 lever action, but everywhere was sold out forever. And I kept kind of checking back in. I think he was maybe 3 months old or something. It was in the summertime.
They had it.
And I just happened to go in that day to get some ammo or something. And I'm like, I see you on the wall. So I got it for him. It's there. I'll probably get like the receiver engraved with his name and birthday on it and whatnot. But I mean, of course, he's probably not going to shoot it till he's, 8 or 9 years old.
No, but that's like stuff like that. Like I got to watch when Tatum was born. Like, and she'll, I'm sure, get that someday, whether she gives a shit about it or not.
Sure.
But like that stuff. And like,
yeah.
Guns would be a rabbit hole I am 100% willing to go down, and I've gone down it already as far as you can without doing your due diligence. But
I gotta get a Desert Eagle 50 caliber. I need one. I need it.
Well,
they're expensive though.
Get one by the summer then, or not even, so I can go out there with.
Yeah, they're expensive. Like it's $4,000, and there's a wait list.
Yeah,
right. Like nowhere's got them in stock. It's an Israeli produced gun. And there's a wait list and $4,000 for a pistol.
Yeah. Just to park on the wait list or whatever.
Yeah. Like I mean, it's okay. The $4,000 for the pistol, that's fine to spend. But what I'm worried about and what I think I'm most hesitant about is the liberal government right now has got a hate on for guns.
So getting them all like snatched in one way or another.
It's a safe queen now.
Yeah.
Illegal. Can't take it anywhere. Can't sell it. Can't transport it. Can't do anything. Is that going to be the same with handguns? Am I going to be stuck with a $4,000 paperweight next year?
Yeah.
But there's also the get it now and maybe get grandfathered so you can keep it. But same as the AR, even if we get grandfathered in, you can't shoot it.
Have you shot a Desert Eagle?
No.
Really?
No. They're, I don't know if you know how they work, but they're actually more like how an AR-15 works. It's gas operated. So when you shoot it, the gases that go out the barrel actually go through a gas block, and that's what recoils the slide back and ejects the cartridge, which is exactly how an AR-15, some AR-15s, some of them are piston and some of them are gas. But it's interesting that it works more like a rifle than a typical handgun. Yeah.
Would that be pretty hard for you to just like find someone with one and shoot it? Or like, can you go to? Is there a range
super rare?
But like, so you can't? Can you go to a range now and
in the States,
play with their stuff? Only in the States?
I don't know of a range in Canada. I'm ignorant on this, so don't hate on me if I'm wrong. But I don't know of a range in Canada that has a bunch of guns.
Rent them to shoot.
Yeah, I think that's more of an American thing. If I'm wrong, let Ian know.
We'll go.
I want to go to that and shoot some cool guns. But I don't think that's a Canadian thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could go straight over the border and there'd be a range with the Desert Eagle
probably
in a heartbeat.
Still, yeah.
But yeah, they look cool, man. 50 cal. The things.
Hopefully, not hopefully. I'll make that a priority to bug you enough to
we'll
take
go
me out with
summer,
you. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
What are you doing this weekend? Anything?
What am I doing this weekend?
Nothing. You ever work on the weekends?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We're like Saturdays we're open, so I'm working Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing. You watch UFCs or anything like that? Are you a UFC guy?
Yeah, I am. I'm behind though. Like, I haven't ordered the pay-per-views in a long time.
Would you come out here though? Would you come down here?
yeah.
Okay, I'll let
Yeah.
you know because we do. Actually,
nights?
next week's won't be happening, but pretty much every UFC. Yeah, we have a setup here where there's a table on here, and then there's a projector there, a screen that comes down,
Okay.
and then we'll put the couches. So there's like 2 full setups, and
I was gonna say that Ian, like, step your game up. This TV's too small. for
this
you.
thing I bought. See the projector on the ceiling over there?
Yeah, and what is this, like 100-inch?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty legit, and then we I don't know, it's cool. Anyone's more the merrier. So
I think the last.
I'll message you and bring Andre down or something like that.
Yeah,
and
sure.
like-
Yeah, the last one I watched would have been the McGregor fight.
Yeah. It's just like I obviously I like UFC and stuff like that, but it's just an excuse to like use the
buddies
space
together.
and have it. Yeah. And for everyone that comes out, it's kind of the same excuse. Like, so
When I was really into UFC was like the Matt Hughes and GSP era.
yeah,
That was when I was like watching it every
making
fight
sure
it
you
was
were
on.
watching it.
And like, is the Ultimate Fighter show still on?
I don't even know. I think so to some extent.
I watched, I think, the first 10 seasons of
yeah.
that. Those
There
were
might be, and it also might be, I'm sure we'll get it.
like Tito.
Yeah.
These guys were funny.
There's like other, like, I know there's like a Contender series, so I don't know what that, I don't know enough to even give you a straightforward answer, but yeah,
Well-
we'll have to come back soon, like not like whenever, but like hopefully I'll have some.
Well, I still need to talk to you about that thing I want to convince you about.
Yeah, tell me.
Maybe not on camera.
Okay, you know what? I was like, fuck, he's gonna buy all these off me and just throw them in the garbage. That's what I thought. I was like, he's coming.
Because I'm a Benchmade hater?
Because you're a stubborn enough guy to spend money to throw my knives out. I was like, oh, 100%. I was like, he's gonna come and offer me like,
That's
you know,
something I
X
would
amount
do.
of money for this, and then throw them across the street
That's
and be like,
something I would do.
now you have your money. So yeah, let me know about. We'll talk about that.
That is something I would do. Funny story, and then we'll wrap up. Robbie Van Weinsberg. We've had an interesting relationship over the years. We've had like squabbles where we get in little arguments or whatever, and we're at each other's throats. And we were, this has got to be 6, 7 years ago. Anyways, he was working as a delivery driver in Tilsonburg. And I think I was...
Oh, at one of the stores. Yeah. Okay.
I may have either been a regional at the time or a branch manager, and I was going either to cover off at the branch because the manager was sick or something, or I was going to do a visit as a regional. I can't remember. But I had heard that he was a delivery driver for Easy Home, and the Tilsonburg Easy Financial was inside the Easy Home at the time. So I heard he was working there part-time as
I remember this.
a driver.
I was there probably
No, 'cause-
6 years ago. You think I was already long gone?
yeah, when I went over to Easy Financial, you were already gone.
Was it 6 years ago?
Yeah, like it was longer than that. When I managed the London Easy Home, you worked there with me.
Yes.
And then I moved to Guelph and managed that Easy Home.
And I probably, I was probably left while you were in Guelph.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when I came back to London, it was as an Easy Financial.
And I was kind of already gone or
Yeah,
at the same
you were
time,
gone.
just leaving. Yeah. Okay.
So, so I was either a manager covering off or I was a regional
Yeah.
doing a visit. And I heard Robbie was working there as like a part-time delivery driver or
Yeah.
something like that, or a salesperson.
Yeah.
I don't remember. So I went and I picked up coffee. I got him a coffee. I brought coffees. And I walked in, he's like, oh, ho, ho, look who it is. Because it was like we hadn't talked for a couple months and just seeing each other again. And I'm like, oh, I got your coffee. He's like, oh, thanks, Doug.
Exactly like that.
And then I go over to my desk, and 5 minutes later, my phone dings off, and it's a video of Robbie pouring the coffee in the toilet.
That's hilarious. That's exactly on par with how it would go.
Oh, yeah, just a huge FU. And we talked about this the other day. He's like, do you know how hard that was for me to do? Because I wanted that coffee with the video and the
Just out of
FU
spite.
was-
It's like you throwing out my knives.
right. Yeah, spending
That's
money
hilarious.
to throw it.
We should do it like throw it out to them. Like, I don't know if you saw the one, but we did one where we set the couches up like a 4-person and it's awesome setup. Like, ask them if they'd
Robbie just had a baby.
Really?
Yeah, baby girl.
Is he?
This week.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So once he's like settled in with that or whatever in a couple months, let's do like us four, me, you, Andre, and Rob.
Justin's about to have a baby too.
Fuck, really?
Girl. Everybody's having girls. I'm the only boy. Maddie's got 2 girls.
I'm like that too. Even with Tatum, like during the time, it was like everyone was still having girls. Like,
Brandon Corbett just had a girl, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so Robbie's had a girl. Matt's got 2 girls. Justin's having a girl.
Well, Jade, like our brother and Jade's sister had a girl. Josh at the gym had a girl. Like, and then Brittany. Do you remember Dave? He's the one, Gibbs. He's the one that had a boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I guess in you.
You know Laura Dariano?
Yes.
She's just had a girl.
Really?
One of Julia's close nurse friends had it. Like everybody's girls. We don't know any boys. Her one friend has a boy. But other than that, like it's all, I wonder what's going on. There's girls everywhere coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any rhyme or reason to that?
Good, it's good for my boy because he's got all these ladies to date now, right?
That's hilarious.
Around the same age.
So that'd be cool, like just to do someone with, like, because it's fun. It's you just, sit around, shoot the shit, and like.
Yeah. Well, this was good, man. Like we don't get together nearly often.
It's fun. Like the epitome of like this whole setup is like, to kind of this is what it's meant to be. It's like like me and you don't feel like we're sitting recording. I don't know. I don't get that. And like, it helps that it's a nice, comfortable environment, but like that's all I want it to be. I'm just gonna keep doing it as long as it's like fun and people are like. It is
fun and it gives you, I think, like, I mean, what other reason would you and I have really to sit down for 3 hours?
Yeah, other than just like, we don't, right? Like you wouldn't, yeah.
To talk about everything.
Yeah.
Like we talked about 5 or 6 different things.
Yeah.
We wouldn't. I would see you for 20 minutes or half an hour. How's the baby? How's the wife? How's work?
Yeah.
We wouldn't talk about 30 different knives, COVID, government, work, kids.
And that's all it is. It's just, it's cool to be able to do that and like bring people in and like not have any expectations of like, filling a seat with like, the most valuable things are the people that you can like learn from and get perspectives from. And
you should talk to Will. He'd be a good guy to have.
Anyone. Yeah. I'll put him on the list. Like I haven't reached out to him, but I mean, in a while, I would love to. Is he still in London?
Yeah, he owns Mighty Movers Elite Moving.
For some reason, I thought did he left away? Did he move away for a little bit or anything like that?
He was kind of to do windmills.
Yeah, okay. Last time I was talking with him, he was like out west. I think
he's been back for years now.
It's same
he started
though.
This company with a partner. I forget his partner's name. You'd recognize the partner. Actually, funny story. At the bar, I think you were there that night. There was a big fight. I had a guy choked, and I was leaning up against a car, choking him, and this guy, his partner, tried to punch the guy I was choking, sucker punch him in the face, missed and hit me.
That's hilarious.
It's funny, I chirp him about it all the time.
Maybe I'll get both them on. Like, that's the cool shit about this is like, fuck it, do whatever I want to do. Like, or whatever people want to do.
It would be good to, talk about how he started his business and whatnot. He's super busy.
Yeah. I'm 100% going to reach out to him.
If anybody needs moving, Mighty Movers Elite.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. Even myself,
I told him, like, I sent him a picture of my gym. I'm like, hey, when I move,
this needs moved. He's like, no, we can't do that.
And the gun safe and the piano in the basement. Like, he's like, fuck.
And you better hook me up with a price.
Yeah, well,
I better get the best friend price.
I don't. That's funny you mentioned that. I don't mind paying. In fact, usually I insist. That's why every time I come here and you try to jam discounts,
I know, and like
I'm like, don't fucking do that. I want to pay full price.
I know.
Because you're my buddy. I want to support your business. I know you feel compelled.
I agree. I'd be the same thing. And like,
charge me full price.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to support you.
I agree. It's not about getting shit. It's like more of a pull his leg and then double his.
I think it's so shitty when people are constantly asking their close friends who own businesses for discounts. Like, I find it like, you're my friend. You should want to support me. And you're asking me to undercut myself.
I gave up on that a long time ago.
But like guys that come to Showtime.
No, please. But honestly, like to give everyone, like I think with that comes the opposite side, right? Like having that outlook on wanting to support, it's like, if I also want to provide, like I want this to be like,
sure.
like there's a genuine sense of satisfaction.
You
like
want to help somebody.
Yeah. Not even helping, just like being able to give this, like being able to give something to you at like, you're my friend. I want to take care of you type of thing. But I think that just goes on both ends. Right. And that's kind of what makes people like,
yeah, well with me and you, it's like maybe an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Cause I want to pay full price and you're like, well, fuck you.
Yeah. And I just double down and just give you more. So you're paying. It's still just 2 for 1. It's like
you'll concede and charge me full price for the protein, but then you'll send me with a T-shirt and a free like
we both
pre-workout
win.
or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
cool.
Thanks for having me.
You know what's funny is real quick. We should do this because someone else brought it too. Is like bring the significant others one time too. Like anything that I know if you guys once you guys get babysitters and stuff like that and.
Julia will never shut up. You just opened a big door there.
Really?
She loves to talk.
Perfect then. I mean, what more do you want? Like that's like the epitome of what this is.
Is Jade a big talker?
No, no. It's weird because I really want her to like do something like that, like even be on as a guest or like in the be able to sit down even with her friends and host someone that just becomes like it's hard with this because. Until you're sitting down here, you don't realize, I think, how casual it is and like how there's no expectations. There's no real like nerves, right? Like me and you, like maybe for a split second when you're like, okay, red, like it's going. And then like 6 seconds in, so she needs to get that roadblock out. And I think she's just like, cause she's someone that she's not self-conscious in the sense like I'm self-conscious because I don't ever want to look at the phone and record it. But I'm gonna have no hesitation doing this stuff where she's like the opposite way. So, like she has no problem like talking, promoting, like, and maybe she has not that she doesn't have a problem, but she's comfortable with it enough to do it where like me and her need to meet halfway because I would never look into my phone and tell you to go, hey, I got to, promote anything or give an opinion or a workout or anything. But this is just so natural to anyone who sits down. So I think she just needs to get that out of the way and then she'll realize like it's probably ease of weird
with you though too, right? Like it's maybe a little awkward sitting here having a recorded conversation with her husband. So maybe if Julia was here or something or me, because I think Jade has probably a lot to talk about that a lot of people want to hear.
And that's why I want to break that barrier of her. Like, let's pretend we're recording. I won't record her or will record or whatever. But I see a big draw in her, me. I won't even like her talking to her friends, replacing me and talking, like having that dialogue. And like, that would be cool. I think she could go along.
For sure. Like I've talked about this with Julia, like Julia works out all the time as well, but how these women manage to juggle being a mom. And I'm sure Jade's somewhat involved with the business here too. Mm-hmm. So juggling being a mom, being involved with the business, being a representative for all these supplement companies,
even more,
and making sure she stays fucking like shredded.
Even more is like more relatable to them too, is like being all that, but not even being like having your own business, living your own lives, and then dealing with us and then dealing with it all. It's not like,
and to stay in shape.
Yeah.
Like Julia got back in shape quickly, after, and so did Jade. Like, there's a lot of women out there that would want to hear.
I know, and I know that is just because, like, I know that there's people that, want to listen to this conversation, and I'm like, I don't even give a shit about that. With people, no one ever listens to this conversation. I'll value this conversation just as much as I would if it went like, everyone watched it. Whereas like her, I think people like by default want to like listen to her and talk.
Every woman that just gave birth wants to learn how to get their body back.
Yeah. Yeah. And just relate to in human aspects of that too. So, okay. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.